Creative block. We were looking for a more fitting Lasombra song, but I couldn't think of anything.
Yeah, or anything that couldn't get like content ID'd because
anything that couldn't get content ID'd. Yes.
It's been rough, homie. It's been rough out here.
All the edgy music has to have some sort of content ID to it.
Well, that's because edgy music's awesome. So if you don't
Edgy
content
music,
ID it, everybody's
do you want
to
go back and live in 2003, the height of awesome music?
I don't know, but I mean, yeah, 2003 is pretty good. I mean, you had a lot of.
We had stuff like Hoobastank,
yes,
Seether, Evanescence, 3 Days Grace, Three Doors Down.
Dude, Johnny loves hell yeah core music. You should spam him Linkin Park.
Go ahead and play that in a Walmart.
I know
that's.
I really want to get back into listening to Creed just for that.
Creed just stinks.
I keep listening to 3 Days Grace.
Yeah, there you go. Whenever I hear, the only problem is now, whenever I hear 3 Days Grace, all I can think of is the Animal I Become, and the guy's like, I can't come tonight, I'm making piss, and he's just chugging a giant jug of water while 3 Days plays bass in the background.
And nowadays, there's no music out there that scratches that itch anymore.
No, you gotta look back to like nobody's making music like that anymore.
Well, music is just terrible these days, and that's it. Kyle, do you know how few songs on the radio are longer than 2 minutes now?
Well, that's because, music.ly has just ruined everything.
And then went on to TikTok. Now you gotta make a song a whole 2 seconds, and you don't even make the song. You just steal somebody else's beat and sample it.
Yep. Basically, ain't no originality no more.
They want to talk about, like Teddy swims with a song "Lose Control." Kyle, notice in the background, it is only 2 notes for almost the entire song.
In my defense, I listen to a lot of hardcore, and hardcore is usually really short songs with like 2 notes. But it goes amazingly
At least
hard.
It makes you feel something, and it's not banal, it's not superficial, it's not trying to sound like it's more important than it really is.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, you put on a Kublai Khan record, you want to go punch somebody, and that's exactly what happens.
More important than they really are is just the whole name of the game of the Lasombra.
Oh yeah.
This is the most pompous vampire clan out of all of them. This is an entire clan of posers, but they actually have some accomplishments to their name. So that's something to have over the Brujah.
Yes.
They're more similar to the Brujah than they like to admit, and they were influenced by Clan Brujah over time. Alright, so we're remaking the Lasombra episode. The one that we did before was like 3 years ago.
It was a while, yeah. It was like one of the first videos we did on Vampire.
Well, that was a fun episode.
You came out with
the Plague Doctor mask, yeah.
Yeah. It was it's a Pantalone mask. It's a Commedia dell'arte Italian theater mask. And it was fun doing that video, but I did get some things wrong on my end, and I just didn't really want to go over Lasombra again because there's just so much information to go over. But then I realized, I think I might have said this during the Ventrue episode, but I might be tripping and I don't remember. Camarilla history is Ventrue history when it comes to this. Anything that the Camarilla did, that is a Ventrue accomplishment in their history. Same with the Sabbat. Sabbat history is Lasombra history. When we hit the Anarch Revolt, when we hit the Lasombra, after the Diablo Rising of Lasombra happens, we can essentially stop this history section. Because by that point, we did a whole Sabbat video, and everything we talked about with the Sabbat video basically is what is in the rest of the Lasombra book. Now, when it comes to this, you have 2 books to go back and forth between. We have a first edition, we have a second edition, where the first edition book was written by Richard Dansky. If you want to know what he worked on, a lot is what he worked on. This man worked on Wraith the Oblivion is how he got his start. And then it was Changing and Dreaming, Mage the Ascension, The Mind's Eye Theater, Vampire Dark Ages, Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Exalted, and Trinity, which I did not know was a book until today. I now know what it is. Kyle, remember how we were talking about why was there not a World of Darkness Aliens game? Well, it turns out Trinity is that game.
Really?
It's about psychics in space is what Trinity is about.
That honestly sounds awesome, and I would love to play that.
It's Trinity and Aberrant are the two World of Darkness games that, well, no, they're storyteller system games, but those are two games that White Wolf made that nobody talked. Just I cannot find shit about those on YouTube. Nobody's made a video about those. So at some point we'll do it. At some point we'll get around to doing it. Hey, Lore by Night, instead of just making the same old stuff you've been doing, how about you start making videos on Aberrant and Trinity? You know, maybe that's some good content idea.
I mean, it would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And now with Richard Dansky, he started off with Wraith, and I think there was a lack of communication when it came to him writing for the Lasombra clan book, because there was a lot of stuff in Lasombra First Edition that directly contradicts what's in other vampire books around that time. And you could say it's just a Lasombra telling you a pack of lies. They're just trying to get you on their side. And yeah, like in character, that would make sense. That would be a Lasombra thing to do, but it's not very cohesive lore now, is it? And remember how much I hate the Toreador Revised book, and how the Toreador Revised is trash. It is a terrible book.
Because I
would never recommend it to
They
anybody.
never get to the goddamn point.
And thankfully, the information in Lasombra First Edition is still useful, but the entire history section you can just tear out of your copy of the book and toss into the trash. It's completely irrelevant. But Second Edition, on the other hand, is written by one, I believe his name is Brian Baugh. Bruce Baugh is his name. You spell it last name Baugh is how you spell it. And this guy blew me away with what a fantastic job he did with this. It's funny that he shares the same name as a philosopher.
Which philosopher?
I'm looking at this guy. There's no way it's the same person, is it? There's no way you're Canadian philosopher, professor of philosophy at Thompson Rivers University, Bruce Baugh. There's no way it's the same person. Though if it is,
that would be kind of incredible, in all honesty. Let me check out his Wikipedia. He has nothing.
South Park has already turned into the news, so what are the odds?
Take a look at this. He has worked on a lot of books as well. Take a look at this extensive library. He got called back to work on Hunter the Vigil after White Wolf went under. Kept writing for Hunter the Vigil until 2014, actually. And then he wrote, what else is here? He wrote for Trinity as well. A book here called Gamma Worlds Game Master Guide. What the fuck is Gamma Worlds?
If you want to know, I mean, like, look at his career, like from 98 to 2004. Like, that's all the books he wrote, and
this guy was on a shitload of projects.
Yeah, he was just cranking them out.
Guide to Camarilla, Guide to Traditions, Jerusalem by Night, for Vampire Dark Ages. This guy's running a lot of gems.
Yeah, this dude knows what's up for World of Darkness, and he's a developer on several others that came out around about 2001 to 2004. So he's very mechanically sound as well.
When it comes to these books, by the way, I think Bruce Baugh might have the award for best clan book, because I had a moment where I was looking through this book, and I had to stop for a second, and I realized this is interesting. Just the stuff that you wrote in this book, this is genuinely interesting, and I want to keep reading. And take a look at that, what he's got in this book. The way he writes it, this is how Mage the Ascension's books should have been written. Because you have multiple narrators talking to you in this book. And the thing is, instead of just two characters filibustering with each other back and forth and ultimately smelling each other's farts, there's moments in this book where there's a natural pause in what the book is telling you, where you, the reader, meditate about what you just read, and then you respond in your mind to what you just read, and if you had a question, the book answers the question. And it's very smart writing, very economic writing, and a lot of foreshadowing is in this book as well. Details that would pop up later in the book get revealed early on, and I'll point those out as we go through the entire book. So, color me impressed. This might be one of the most talented members of the original White Wolf staff. He did a fantastic job with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And along with it, we have a whole framing device for Clan Book Lasombra as well that I actually think is a little bit funny. This, as I told you before, it's multiple elders talking to a guy who's being promoted for bishop, is the premise of the book. The guy who is being promoted for bishop in question is lore character Andrew Emery. Kyle, I need to show you what this guy looks like.
All right.
Let's see what this.
Let's see, Mr. Emery.
This is a fantastic time for the wiki to break, by the way.
I hate when that happens.
Copy image. I'm pasting him in Studio Pages. Take a look at this dude.
Let's see.
What the? Wait, what?
Okay, this guy is just Okay, how? Okay, I've seen this type of guy before. I've seen him before.
Like, what's this dude? A punk rocker?
You notice something about his design
no. To me, he's more. He looks more like a loser who just rambles on the internet for 10 to 20 minutes.
Now, Archie, take a look at his legs.
Okay,
you know something?
Got straps on them.
And his legs are missing below the knee.
Oh, is that what's going on?
Yes. So this is a guy this is a vampire in a wheelchair because he's a WMPT.
Interesting.
And when he's without the wheelchair in combat, he uses obtenebration to give himself shadow legs that he uses to chase after you.
Wait, this is the guy that uses obtenebration as a wheelchair.
Yes.
That's kind of funny.
When I heard about that, I imagined him to look, more professional.
And this
guy looks like a loser.
His whole contribution to the story is that he's the guy who's pursuing Lucita de Aragon after she goes rogue. In order to do this, he betrays an old friend, Artarchus Lasombra Constantine, uses that to chase after Lucita de Aragon, and Lucita has a whole vision about who he is and where he's going. She evades capture, and then ultimately it doesn't actually end up going anywhere. There's a whole point here too about Andrew Emery eventually losing his shit and he devours his sire and diabolizes him. And according to the map plot, he's still alive. This guy's still around, going around Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, he looks typical for Portland, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks like a man from Portland, Oregon, doesn't he? This is his rundown as he's being promoted to bishop. Is the premise of the book.
Right.
So they begin with all these different lessons. And they say, the first thing we're going to tell you is that, yes, we are vampires. Yes, we do exist. And I know what's on your mind. How do we get here? How do we end up being vampires? They say the story of Adam and Eve. You know the whole story of Adam and Eve.
Yep.
Well, get Adam out of your mind. Get Eve out of your mind. It doesn't necessarily matter who they are. It just matters who Cain was and who Abel was. Abel was the guy who was a herder. Cain was a farmer. They both did sacrifices to God. Abel did a good job. Cain's sacrifice got rejected. Cain got mad about it at God, and then Cain, in retaliation, kills Abel, and then God curses him with vampirism. They say that there are two takeaways from the story. One, they know that Cain is real. It is undeniable that Cain is real. To deny that he exists is a really stupid idea, because how else are you going to explain that vampires are here? Did vampires just occur in nature? Did we just become walking corpses that drank blood and have superpowers on our own? No. That's just not a thing. It had to be something else, and Cain is the only logical explanation as to how we got here. Second, because Cain exists and has these powers, and it also intrinsically means that God in heaven does exist. Every Lasombra knows this. Every Lasombra believes this. There is no agnostic Lasombra out there. Now, you will have atheistic Lasombra who know that God exists, but they actively spite God and refuse to worship him. That kind of atheist. But a lot of Lasombra out there do run in religious circles, are usually Catholic, but there's a whole thing they note in this book. Around the same time they're mentioning the whole spread of religion and what a tool religion can be and how useful religion can be as a tool, the Lasombra point out that usually when it came to faith, the Lasombra didn't buy what they sold. There was a guy that gets brought up in this book that only is in here for a brief mention, whose name is Montano. Where, once again, this is another character I'm going to pull up in another tab, and I'm going to show him to you in a minute. And Montano's whole idea is that after Rome became the Holy Rome, fell and had to become the Holy Roman Empire, he said, let's use religious dogma and fear as a weapon. And he cracks the code. And he's the guy that started the whole Catholic Lasombra image, because that tends to be what you see with a lot of fan art, right? When it comes to fan art, the clan Lasombra is the most drawn clan when it comes to fan art, them and the Zamichi. Whenever I look around on the White Wolf Wiki, Clan Lasombra is always the first result that comes up for a vampire clan, because
I
it is the most searched Archie, and it is the most drawn and the most played clan in all of Vampire the Masquerade.
Really?
Of course it is the most strong. Like you can just have you can just have obtenebration as blobs of ink.
And that's the whole thing, obtenebration, because obtenebration, as we will get to later in the video, celerity is still the discipline that is the defining factor in dust ups between vampires, but obtenebration is objectively the best discipline in the game. It's very neck and neck with celerity, but we'll get to that when we get to that. In terms of what Montana looks like, by the way, Kyle, hang on to this image because we're going to have to come back to it at a later time.
All right.
That's what he looks like.
Kind of freaky
Check
looking.
that dude out. In studio pages.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Waving the little cross pocket watch in front of your face. That's his whole thing. He's North African. Or like ambiguously Romanian. He's brown, but we don't know what kind of brown. His whole thing. Yeah, I know
fair.
that sounds racially insensitive to say fuck it, I said anyway.
Screw it.
So they say that yes, there is a god, there is a Cain. And also the guy who's the narrator of this book has a whole... If you remember the JoJo character Gyacho, who takes metaphors way too seriously, the narrator himself has a moment where he goes, why is there an E at the end of Cain's name? There was no E at the end of any word in the Middle Eastern language. There is no E at the end of any Arabic name. This is a man that's from the Arabian Peninsula, where that is not a thing. Get that E off his name. Don't ever spell Cain's name with an E at the end of it.
Even though it's spelled that way in the book all over the place.
It is.
I think that's kind of funny.
But it said, just if you're a Lasombra, you spell Cain without the E when you do that. And they go into the story saying that there's a metaphorical purpose here too. This is the Lasombra mission statement that's laid out here, and it's done in a very smart way. They said that Cain's children can only propagate through Cain stealing another kid. Cain cannot have a biological child. When it comes to the sons of Cain in the story, whether or not Cain had children before or after God cursed him, it wasn't possible if God cursed him. So if Cain had children before, they don't really matter because all those kids are probably dead. And if Cain didn't lose the kids through the Great Flood, then Lilith probably would have been the one to kill them. All of Cain's children have to be taken from someone else. This means that Enoch, Irad, and Zillah were not Cain's biological kids, but he loved them as if they were his biological kids, which is why he took it so poorly when the third generation killed them. Because in Cain's mind, that's as closest he was ever going to get to progeny. And he lost it during that crisis. Yes. And meanwhile, humanity can still create. Humanity, through the union of man and woman, can make a kid and can continue to propagate. They can keep going, while meanwhile, Cain has to steal to get power. And meanwhile, how does a vampire hunt? There's only two ways to sustain yourself as a vampire in an ecosystem. That is either as a nomadic hunter or a parasite. Meanwhile, a human can do whatever he can. A human can farm, a human can hunt, a human can live in a world of possible post-scarcity if he tries hard enough. A vampire can never get to that point. The book lays out that
even in real life, vampire bats can't really survive on their own.
That's true.
I mean, they can't drink blood. They can't drink enough blood to keep themselves alive. They have to share blood with other vampire bats to live.
There is no vampire Mobius strip where I suck your blood, you suck my blood, and we can just sustain ourselves in that forever. No, because you lose a blood point every time you wake up in the morning. Sorry, not morning, evening. So that's the thing. If Cain's kids have to steal to survive, the Lasombra have come to accept this. The Lasombra culture, whether or not they realize it or not, is we are on this earth to lie, cheat, steal, and kill. That is why we're here. That is what our fate is. So if it's our destiny to be the bad guy, then we will be the bad guy. Is the
We
mission
will
statement
be
with
we
Lasombra.
will be the monsters God
It,
intended us to be.
and you see that in stuff like the Road of Night and the Path of Night. They're another line. That's the whole thing. That's what separates the Lasombra from other vampires, Kyle. The Lasombra fully admit to being bad people. They don't pretend to be altruistic.
No.
There is no good guy Lasombra. By the nature of the blood, that is not possible to make.
And how do you explain Geronimo?
They're going to be at best anti-heroes.
That's fair.
You never finished your conversation with him, now did you?
I suppose we didn't. No.
No. And after all, when we eventually get to Rage Underground 2 weeks from now, Rudy himself is not going to be that good of a guy either.
Well,
speak with them.
No, I don't intend him to be.
And they point out that while humanity will continue to create and propagate, you have to be the leech that will always remain in the shadows and steal from them. They also note out that the story of the first city makes no sense, because they said, you expect us to believe that the first city was supposed to be somewhere around the land of milk and honey. The book points out something that I never heard of before until I started reading this book. There is a prehistoric city in Turkey that is called
Catalhuyuk?
Catalhuyuk, yes. That has been around since like 7000 BC. And
Yeah.
the Clan Lasombra says that, yes, they were here. Clan Lasombra started in Turkey, but they were not a clan during this point. The book points out that there was no formal clan of vampires during this time. The Antediluvians just sired people, and then those people went off and did what they did. And if there was an organized clan, there were only 5 during this time. Those 5 being Clan Salubri, because of Salat's cult personality, Clan Gangrel, because all the Gangrel had a little coalition where they recognized each other's territories and respected them, left them alone. Clan Ravnos, that were going off of the holy mission of, we have to hunt down and kill the Kuei Jin and fulfill and finish the legacy of the Macaulay, but the Macaulay failed. Even though they were not only doing that, but, Silent Shredders are how that clan formed, so there may or may not have been some Macaulay knowledge in that. Then Niktuku, ironically enough, there was no Clan Nosferatu during this time.
It was
and
just the
Clan
Niktuku.
Ventru.
Damn.
And that was it. Those were the only organized clans during this time. So the Lasombra, what they did is that they were just guys who just walk over to your mud hut, drop in through your ceiling, drink your blood, and then dip. And that's just what they did. And Catalhuyuk was around in 6500 BC. It was a flourishing city with 6,000 people. And then in 900 years, that city was empty. And then in 700 more years, everybody left the region. But they said that's how they got their start was in Turkey. And you might be thinking, after Turkey, where did they go? Where did they go after Turkey? To the Mediterranean Ocean. Yeah, the seafaring vampires, the whole thing between them. As you remember, Archie, how all the Antediluvians will divvy up different portions around the Mediterranean Sea? The Lasombra were just in the sea. As Lasombra, you could just, if you had no other option, you could just...
Lasombra are the reason thalassophobia exists.
Yeah, you could, as Lasombra, just dive off the side of your boat, go to the ocean floor, and sleep. And then when the night comes around, you just swim right back up and start what you were doing all over again. It's that easy. Why get a blood point to bury yourself in the ground like the Gangrel do? Just jump into a lake.
Dracula taking the ship crew one by one ain't shit compared to La Sombra just diving into the water and be whatever the Kraken, the Leviathan.
What those monsters were. And during this time too, there was a practice where Lasombra would build a ship, get into that ship, put himself in a coffin, and then just wait to see where the sea took him. That is why we have recorded instances in the Lasombra book of there being Lasombra in South America way before the conquistadors ever set foot in South America. They said that Tezcatlipoca, that was Lasombra.
Really?
That's who they're talking to, by the way. Yeah, Tina, we're talking to Lasombra, Kyle.
So I imagine the Shadow Lords eventually killed them when it came over.
That would have been a smart thing to write into the book, but Brian Campbell and Chris Campbell weren't necessarily communicating when they made the Shadow Lord book. There was what we have with the Shadow Lords, failure to communicate.
Yes. Once again, the fatal flaw of the World of Darkness books is the failure of communication between not just the writers, but also the factions within the lore itself.
Like how these people weren't even in the same room writing these books. Is the whole thing. You see why working from home can be a bad thing sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit.
And if to be believed, some of the Lasombra got all the way to fucking Polynesia, to like fucking Hawaii and the Pacific Islands, and became little like island Lasombra that just had dominions where they were completely unchallenged for thousands of years out in the islands.
Sounds pretty sick, if you ask
like
me.
That. Yeah, like that. So the Lasombra just spread everywhere. And you notice that Lasombra the Antediluvian has a thing for having his kids be fucking everywhere. Speaking of the Antediluvian, do we know anything about this guy? No. He is the most enigmatic figure in the entire series. And the reason why is because nobody can really pin how he formed or why he was embraced. Take a look at the disciplines of the Lasombra. You have Obtenebration, Dominate, and Potence. Now, having Dominate would lead you to believe that he was embraced by Enoch, because a lot of people that were embraced by Enoch tend to have mind control powers. It's for example, being Zemichi, for example. Or it was Erat the Strong, because Potence is a common thread amongst people that are embraced by him. But then Zilla embraced Nosferatu, who has Potence, so that kind of throws it off the window. So we don't really know who embraced Lasombra. And even then, there's a theory that Lasombra isn't even a he isn't even third generation, he's second generation, is another theory. There's a theory that Cain embraced him and gave him Obtenebration, because they said the Obtenebration is the whole thing. Where did that power come from? Because nobody else has that. Nobody else can just pick up and learn Obtenebration either. You have to be taught this power. And the Lasombra keep it as a very close secret. They don't like other people having Obtenebration, especially when it comes to Caitiff. So where else could Lasombra gotten that power besides Cain himself, who learned that power from Lilith? Or did Lasombra call it the middleman? Did he directly go into the Abyss and speak with the Abyss, and the Abyss gave him those powers? You remember how Set has the whole story about how he fought a Pep, and how him defeating a Pep is what made him a vampire?
So does this mean that Lasombra is technically the second wormish vampire?
Yes, if you're to believe that story. But if he is second generation, then what happened to all of the G3 vampires? And if he's first generation, then what happened to his seconds and his thirds? Is the whole question. And that is never answered in this book. So we genuinely do not know what the fuck his deal is. As for what did Lasombra look like? Well, he has a human husk that he has, but what he usually looked like after he's gained the power of Obtenebration through means that nobody recorded. He is this giant tentacle monster that is 2D in appearance. Because he's Vantablack, Kyle and Archy, he looks flat. You cannot tell how big his body is by just directly looking at him. You have to get multiple people looking at him from multiple angles.
Okay, I just envisioned this. Okay, you have the shoulders, the head, and then everything just shrinks down to the ground, and then it's a bunch of tendrils.
It just, he either looks like a normal man that's just 2D and flat walking towards you, or he looks like the Kraken. It depends. It depends on what he wants to do with his Obtenebration that day. Because what does this man do after he gets his shadow powers? Well, he just jumps into the Mediterranean Ocean. Mediterranean Sea. And he does not come out.
Yep.
And that's the whole thing. And he swims around the ocean, and he just reaches up, destroys ships, and then feeds off their blood of the dead sailors. And that's just how he operates.
Yeah.
And because Lasombra's in the ocean, his little psychic antediluvian signals go over to his clan, and the clan goes into the ocean by extension, which is where the Lasombra become the pirates.
Yes.
The pirate clan.
The sea
If you want
people.
to talk to
Hardly dice, Elvira me hace feliz.
you get the and on top of that, these guys are. I remember I posted here before. It was like the political compass meme of all the different vampires. The little
And then
Lasombra.
the true Lasombra. Then you have the true Lasombra, just being a pirate with a crazed look on his face.
Oh yeah, he was at the very bottom of the libertarian scale. And
Wait,
it's that
really?
is yeah, it was yeah, you're surprised by that, right? Because nowadays Little Summer are all about being the extreme authoritarian.
Yes.
But back in the day, Little Summer just didn't give a fuck. They just said, we're just gonna go out, fuck your shit up, and then you deal with it. Or you die.
Base proto Lasombra. Hello.
That's just how it was. And the Little Summer leaves behind survivors? Usually not. Usually not.
No, it's
And
where they say in the book. It's where the whole myth of like the sea people that ravaged the Mediterranean. So the Lasombra inadvertently caused the Bronze Age collapse from all of them hiding under the water and sinking a bunch of bronze ships.
That was them, yes. And funny enough, speaking about Pirate Lasombra, Kyle, I know you don't watch One Piece, but I know Archie is familiar with it.
Yeah.
Blackbeard.
yeah. I'm
basically Blackbeard. Kyle, there's Blackbeard on it for you in studio notes. Kyle in the One Piece anime, the version of Blackbeard, he has obtenebration.
Does he really?
That's what his power. Yes, he has the power to manipulate shadows and eat people through shadows.
Oh, if only he didn't look fucking stupid in this show.
If he didn't look like, he's missing a lot of sideburns. You know, like all the beard is on the chin, none of it's actually on his cheeks.
Yeah.
He's introduced in the best possible way, getting an argument with Luffy over a cherry pie.
Right.
This pie is so bad.
Luffy says, this cherry pie tastes fucking horrible.
Luffy says, this pie is so bad I could die. Blackbeard says, this pie is so good I could die. And then the drink. Hey, this drink is terrible. This drink is delicious. Hey, bud, I think your taste buds are wrong.
Kyle, there's the meme picture.
It's like the two soy jacks arguing.
I love Oda's art style, man.
I don't know. It's not my preference, I'll say.
Kyle, I swear to you, you would love One Piece if you got into it. I know you don't want to because of just how fucking long One Piece is, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
Not only are TV shows a hard sell for me, anime is doubly so a hard sell for me.
Comics, motherfucker, just read it.
I'm illiterate. I don't read.
Just read it.
You are illiterate.
Yes, I am indeed.
So how did the clan name form? It's brought up in this book. And it said during this time they were calling Lasombra, who they didn't really know what he looked like. They just had an idea that he's this big damn sea monster at the bottom of the ocean. They called him Laza Omri Baras, which translates to, from Egyptian, the god of river and darkness. Then that name got translated over to like Proto-Indo-European bullshit called Lasombra, which translates to prophets from knowledge, or the union who dominates, is what that word means. And then, because that was the name they gave him, they took it on as his get to call themselves that. So you could call these guys, if you really wanted to, the get of Lasombra, if you wanted.
Well, that's kind of sick.
Yeah, they copied their name from the get of Fenris.
Even though they were on opposite sides of the
coin. My whole fucking blow. He stole my whole fucking blow. Word for word, word for word.
It just so happens that you two of you made the same thing. It was like the Bugs Bunny and Tom and Jerry cartoon that both did a mouse and a piano to the same song. And they just did it without even knowing about each other.
Oh, yeah.
And once again, like, the Lasombra didn't really do anything besides just huff and puff and fuck your shit up. Until 1627, where now we get dates. The first dispersal. The volcanic island of Thera blew up. The volcano uninterrupted, and the entire island was just gone. It was just gone. And some people say Atlantis was on it. The Lasombra said, who gives a fuck about Atlantis? It's just horse shit. Nobody really cares about what was on Atlantis anyway. The Lasombra then went over to Europe, sired Montano, and then found the time in his schedule to go to Africa and Asia and sire another vampire, and then he went to the ocean, and then that was it. That's all he wanted to do for that day. And then time for us words again.
To 1492.
Yeah, I love how direct.
Wait,
how
it goes
direct
back. What the
Lasombra
fuck?
book is. It goes on to saying that, by the way, the book does a whole spiel here, but I like that the book actually discusses this lore, like the shared lore as it goes on. Like Bruce Baugh had some points to point out in this, is what I'm saying. And he says that even during this time, they said, while you were a Lasombra that had shadowmancy and you could strangle people to death with your shadows, you were not necessarily above kind, which is what their word for humans. A human could still kill you if they had a chance, which is why Lasombra never stood, like, even though he was the Kraken, he didn't stay out on land too often because he knew he still had weaknesses. And they point out there were still instances, even during the time of miracles, where humans were killing vampires that were on the same level of an antediluvian. Because after all, Kyle, remember, Malcap still died. Still remember that.
Yeah.
And after all, the Science Shredders killed Set. So even though you're an antediluvian, you're not invincible. These guys can still die. And then we go into the second dispersal, where 68 BC, Pompey comes in with the Roman Empire and completely ruins the pirate operation. They do a whole Mare Nostrum, or the RC, and now the sea is just controlled by the Roman Empire, and the Lasombra say, oh, fuck, what do we do now? Let's just go over to Greece and let's get an idea from Greece. Look over, you see the Ventru and the Bruja, and they get some ideas. The Ventru is ruling through an iron fist. The Bruja are ruling through ideas. And the Lasombra think, what if we combine the two and then we rule everything? What if we just hang up the pirate hat, never put the pirate hat back on, instead we put a crown on our head? Yeah, that will be what we do. They'll somebody think about this plot and they say, we can't do it yet. We gotta wait for this to happen, because rather than just build the kingdom ourselves, what if, Archie, we steal somebody's kingdom?
A runabout.
We'll steal it!
Yeah.
No one will ever
know! And we'll just get some chump to build a kingdom for us, and then we'll steal it.
I broke Archie.
And that's the whole thing.
Sorry.
We sent him down memory hole to 2017.
Yes, we did.
And so they're looking over at the Bruja and the Ventru. We have Carthage over there. We have Rome over there. Let's just sit back, watch what happens, form a little perimeter around both places, see who wins this war. And so they do. They wait. They play the waiting game. They're doing a Nosferatu tactic during this time. They also point out that this is when the Path of Night and the Road of Night were codified. We'll get to those later on in the episode. Trying to remind me about that.
Yes.
And of course, we know how that works. Carthage is taken down, Troil and Moloch die, and the Ventru salt the ground, and now he's not ever coming back. The Lasombra pick up and say, all right, plan A. We're going with plan A, not plan B. We're going to steal the Ventru's kingdom. And you have to wait on that.
May I drop a little piece of trivia?
Please.
Yeah.
All right, so the Third Punic War was not officially ended in the records.
Yeah.
And so technically it was still going until 1980.
What?
The Emperor, the Alpha cannot be challenged at time of war. That's the whole thing. You see, that's the whole trick the Surfangs do. They just never finalize their paperwork.
That's
why they've been in power forever. That's the hustle. That's how you do the hustle. Yep. So you got the Lasombra over here. They wait for the Venture to fuck up, and eventually they do. because where do the progenitors of Rome go? You had the Malkavians that run all the way over to the United Kingdom, to England, Scotland, Ireland, and they are unknowingly serving the worm, causing the death of the White Howlers. The Toreador just quit the project entirely after eventually run the whole project into the ground, getting away from their artistic vision of what Rome was supposed to be. They just quit. And then the Ventrue lose control and decide to completely abandon West Rome in favor of East Rome, and then that becomes the Byzantine Empire. The Lasombra say, yeah, now, do it. Now it's time to go in. Go, 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 go. They run in, take West Rome for themselves, and then become the Holy Roman Empire after they go over to Emperor Constantine and say, Constantine, quit killing Christians. You are feeling guilty about killing Christians. Make Christianity your religion. Get away from paganism. And Constantine says, you know what? I had a moment of where God spoke to me. I gotta do just that. Montano does his hands off and he says, congratulations. Thank you. You can say thank you now. I just secured our legacy. You can now put Montano back up on screen because it was Montano's idea to do the Christianity controls grab. That was his plan.
And it went phenomenally.
Yeah, and it did great. And then you know European history by this point. You know the Dark Ages. You know the Middle Ages. How the Catholic Church fucking controlled everything during this time.
Yep.
And then you had the Great Schism, where East Europe was told to fuck off by the Catholic Church and then became the Orthodoxy. And then as time went on, you had Martin Luther, who had to ruin the whole thing. But before that happens, we get to the story of Gratiano de Veronese, a 12th century noble from Sicily who really wanted his family to control Sicily. However, the nobles who were in charge refused to give the city-state over to Gratiano during this time. So he has a moment where he realizes that he's never going to be the Pompey or the Charlemagne that he always dreamed of. Lasombra points him out. Lasombra visits Gratiano and tells Gratiano, I will give you all the power you ever dreamed of beyond a scale that you initially imagined. If you do this set of rules, if you do this script for me. He hands the script over to Gratiano, and notice during the end of this book too, the book stops referring to Gratiano by his last name during that section. Yeah, it says something about the character, right?
Yeah, why is that?
It's that Gratiano abandons all of his mortal concerns in favor of vampire concerns after that happens.
I feel like that would have made him as good as a controller of mankind as they thought they were supposed to be.
He pulls a Griffith from Berserk. He abandons his humanity and decides to become the Dark King that he knows he wants to be. Exactly that. Thank you for the scream, Archie.
Nice.
And now we get into Gratiano's whole thing. He has to go over and sell over Sicily's secrets to Bavaria and Bohemia. And after he does that, he needs to go to Germany and do the same thing. You then come home. You're then found guilty for being a traitor. You're then put to trial. Your legs are then broken with a hammer. Your face is beaten into a bloody pulp. And then Lasombra finally comes in and says, are you ready? He says, yes. He heals Gratiano of his wounds and embraces him. And now we have the man who will diabolize Lasombra. The book pauses here and says, well, why would this happen? Why did Lasombra embrace Gratiano?
Okay,
and
may I add may I add something?
You have an idea, yes.
All right. La Sombra approach, what's his name?
Gratiano.
Okay, approach Gratiano on his lowest point.
Mm.
Does that sound familiar to you?
Yes, that's the same thing that happened in Berserk.
Also another thing.
Yes. What you got? What you got?
So you know how the rest of the clan La Sombra embraced, right?
Yes, because after the whole culture with the Lasombra is that they ruin your mortal life before making you into a vampire. That's the whole practice.
With Gratiano, this is the point it started.
It is. Yeah, thank you for pointing out that's what started a whole culture to it. We might as well bring it up right now. To embrace a member of the Lasombra, Kyle, what you gotta do is you gotta point out a guy who's ambitious, who has ideas, who has a lot of things he wants to accomplish in his life, and you steal it all away from him. Piece for piece.
Basically,
You
just
go
ruin his
in,
goddamn life.
you pull a book of Job on him, is what you do. Just all
Yeah,
the success that he.
the
What?
Lasombra embrace process is an emulation of the Book of Hope.
You lose your wife, you lose your kids, you lose your money, you lose your house, you lose everything to your name until you're given absolutely nothing left. And when you hit rock bottom, that is when Lasombra embrace you. Lasombra then pick you up, and there's a small mentoring period where Lasombra say, you now have a set time limit, however long I declare, to get back what you lost. They then set you loose, and then you as Lasombra go out and do everything you can to scrounge back what you lost, and there is a desperation that you see in young Lasombra because of that. Because you are starving for what you used to have, and that loss, that stays with you forever. That idea that you are now in a permanent point of scarcity never leaves your soul as a Lasombra. So you become a man who is never satisfied. This is to ensure that you will be the leech that Clan Lasombra needs you to be through their own vampire philosophy.
I feel
That
like
makes sense to you,
somehow
right?
this is an even more
Yeah.
cruel version of the Cleopatraing from the.
Hell of a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dog, is pain, agony, and misery to be Lasombra. You wonder why every single member of this clan is so fucked up? That's why.
I'm really glad I'm not a fucking Lasombra.
And they were theorizing, well, why did Gratiano get embraced? What are thinking that with Gratiano's whole thing is that Lasombra might have been planning to die. Like Lasombra was saying, I'm sick of being a vampire, I want to die. And that's why Gratiano was embraced. Because they're saying maybe Lasombra planned for Gratiano to be his executioner and he was doing this whole elaborate death scheme, and that's what the whole thing was. Or maybe he wasn't planned for that, like Gratiano had a different idea, but it was the Zimichi that gave him the idea to uprise Lasombra. Or maybe it's just pure chaos theory, everything went off the rails, and then Lasombra died through that method. But in reality, Kyle, this is where we get into Time's Judgment Gehenna. What the actual thing happened is that Lasombra decided that he no longer needed his clan. What he did is that he left behind his human husk body in a castle in... I'm forgetting what the place is. It's some silly-ass Italian name for a castle. I'm trying to figure out. It is... Syracusa is the name of the castle. He drops his body off there. He leaves a piece of himself in the decoy body, and then he just goes back into the Mediterranean Sea, finds a hole to hell, and climbs into it. And he's done. That's all he's got to do. He's in hell where he wants to be.
He just finds Malpheus and banishes himself to hell.
Oh, not even that. There's just a straight abyss. What the worm thinks it controls. Absolute nothingness. The worm controls death, but the abyss can still eat the worm, Kyle.
Well,
just to put that in perspective. That's it. Like there is a force of death and entropy that is above the worm itself. Some call it oblivion, but it's the abyss. And the thing with Lasombra is that he has made direct contact with entities within that said abyss, and he has made pacts with them. That pact is to destroy mankind. What he does in Time's Judgment Gehenna in the Crucible of God scenario, Archie, is that a pillar of darkness shoots out of the sky into the sky one day and blots out the entire sky. Now, what Lasombra thinks happens is that they're thinking, oh, now it's our time to become the vampire lords that will take over humanity in an eternal night. That is not what happens. What happens, Archie, is that what Lasombra did in doing so is that he accomplished what the Weaver never could in raising the Gauntlet rating to 10 universally. Jesus. Kyle, do you know what that's going to do?
That's going to block off the spirit world completely and bring about the Weaver Ascending ending.
No, it results in the total death of all changelings. Every wraith is now severed from the Skinlands. Every mage loses their magic, and every changing breed begins to die from that happening. Those are the three things. Those are the four things.
The changeling thing twice.
No, changing breeds. Is what I said.
Okay.
Yeah, no
No,
more werewolves. Yeah.
At first, I thought Malcolm would say this, but now, when I was saying this, Lasombra, I definitely might say, before the universe, there was nothing. And before nothing, there were monsters.
That's
That's
true.
Lasombra's MO. And now that there's only vampires left behind, in a world where, because the gauntlet's cut off, all animals, all plants, basic geological formations, and buildings are collapsing because they're split off from the Umbra. Then after that's done, after 7 days of what is essentially a planet dying on a bacterial level in an ice age, Lasombra cuts the spell off after 7 days. He dealt his damage, and then he's gone. He's ensured the extinction of mankind after that he did that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
God created the universe in 7 days, and Lasombra will do in the same amount of time.
And the only reason why Lasombra hasn't done that is because Lasombra has, well, as a side effect of Obtenebration, the more you use it, the more it gives you a slow death of personality. The more you use it, it begins to take away bits of your soul every time you use it, until it leaves you, theoretically, as an empty husk that no longer thinks or feels. Now,
Basically,
we have
what
no
happened to
lore
Ruslan.
characters. We have no character in lore that has had that happen to them, but Ruslan Maximov, the character that we use in our games, is what that would look like if Lasombra eventually reached that point. That's the horror story behind it.
Right.
Which is why, Kyle, when you notice with these stat blocks with Lasombra, Obtenebration is always the second highest discipline. They always spec it to either Dominate or Potence above Obtenebration. You do not want to go only on Obtenebration, because same with Dementation or Vicissitude, there is a drawback to you using that much Obtenebration at one time.
Oh, yeah.
You will lose yourself to the power.
It's basically going to kill you.
And of course, with the Sabbat history being Lasombra history, we know how the story goes from this point forward. Gratiano de Veronese is inspired by Tyler in Spain to do his own version of Anarch Revolt. He finds that body of Lasombra, he diabolizes it. He thinks he's third generation. He's not. He thinks he is. And then that goes on to inspire the Zamichi to do the same thing. The Anarch Revolt goes off. Then the Convention of Thorns happen. The Lasombra are banned from the Camarilla. So they say, well, fine, fuck you. We're going to start our own thing called the Sabbat with the Zamichi. And we don't need you.
We're starting our own vampire cult with blackjack and
blackjack
hookers.
and hookers. And they go off, and as we find out the hard way, the Zamichi are a massive millstone.
Yeah, they kind of fucked themselves over with that. Wait, what?
How much of the Zamichi accomplished?
They killed the Tremere.
They haven't killed off the entire clan, though.
No, but they fought him back.
And then that's it.
Yeah, basically.
That's it.
Well, actually, if you want me to count it preemptively, Zamichi's already won, technically.
Well, that Antediluvian has already run, but his clan.
Well, no, the rest of them, they just, go around killing each other and torturing people, and that's about it.
Yeah, the Zamichi they don't have two brain cells to rub together. They just do whatever they want, believing that they're above consequence. And meanwhile, the Lasombra are trying to get these different plans done, and they can't accomplish a single one because the Zamichi have to be the Zamichi.
They just keep fucking it up.
Archie, how many civil wars are there in the Sabbat?
Yes.
3. And between all 3 wars, all 3 of them were Lasombra versus Zamichi. All 3 of them were centered around that conflict.
I mean,
and it's a whole like abusive girlfriend kind of relationship. It's that you can't live with them, you can't live without them. You've made a mistake. You're now launched into this relationship with the Zamichi, and you cannot get out of it.
A friend like the Zamichi, no wonder Lasombra crawled into the ocean and decided to go to hell himself.
If you've been watching JoJo's streams in the server, Kyle, it's the same relationship as the Coffin of Andy and Lele. It's 2 people who have mutually ruined each other's lives and cannot live without each other now.
Good lord.
That's the relationship between Lasombra and Zamichi. And Yeah, Archie shuddered when I said that name. He knows how bad it is. And they bring up the Amici Noctis, by the way, but this is a point that I skipped over in the last video that we did. Because the Amici Noctis don't really fucking do anything in the map plot, they're supposed to be like the inner Calyx with the Black Furies, or the Lords of the Summit with the Shadow Lords. But the Amici Noctis don't really accomplish anything because the Zamichi are the Zamichi. They're this whole inner circle of Lasombra that you only get invited once. If you fuck up the initiation, you're never invited again. And they're supposed to be the ones that run clan affairs and make sure that there is never an anti-tribute that rises within Lasombra. And for the most part, they're successful. You'll have the occasional Lasombra who quits and becomes Anarch, but at the same time, you're still establishing yourself as a Lasombra, and you can still take over your branch of Anarchs and ultimately serve the clan. So they don't necessarily discourage that. But Lasombra quitting and joining the Camarilla, they have an issue with. They do not want you to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're going to see the Man in Black if you do that, which is why it makes no fucking sense why that's a thing in 5th edition. Dog, the Lasombra would not eat crow and join the Camarilla, no matter how many times you insist that would not happen.
No.
That just would not happen.
If even like they would have no reason to do so. I mean, it would go against everything that the clan was founded on.
And of course, as they would go on, there would be a rivalry that would form between Lasombra and the Ventrue during this time.
Okay, may I say something?
Yes.
You said Men in Black. So we're talking about La Sombra. I just imagine the same thing with Will Smith for La Sombra.
That would be funny.
All right,
actually.
people, you see this? Now look into my eyes. All right, this is what happens when you flush your child's goldfish.
If Lasombra had the same toys as the New World Order, they would definitely do that.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's funny that, speaking of the New World Order, these are the same vampires that directly inspired the Cabal of Pure Thought to form. It's Lasombra's fault why the fucking technocracy exists. Because they just couldn't help themselves.
Well, I mean, they invaded the church and made it their own.
They ate too many people in the church, and directly inspired the Cabal of Pure Thought, that became the Ivory Tower, that became the New World Order, that became the Technocratic Union. So it's your fault why they exist.
The biggest Lasombra L in the entire book.
Yeah, you unknowingly caused the faction to form that would take away your aspiration for world domination. You don't control the world. The Technocratic Union controls the world. And you're in denial over it, is the thing that gets me.
Yeah, they're not getting over that, are they?
No. And basically that is where we can end the history section after that, because if you want to look further into what the Lasombra did as a tribe after this, consult our Sabbat video, because we have a lot of other stuff we want to talk about that's not just history. The only thing to really note here is that the Lasombra had a very easy time in coming over to the New World because they were already established in the New World.
Because they sat on a boat for like 4 months and just landed in South America.
So
that was a spooky thought.
You're the European Lasombra coming over to Latin America, and they see all the Lasombra like, dab me out, bro.
Yep.
You're here the whole time? Oh, I didn't know. All right, what have you accomplished? And they're still old school pirate Lasombra too. So they're still wackadoos, and the whole thing with the Lasombra spreading out across the world. Oh no, am I having a senior moment? Was I about to make a point? I just forgot what I was about to say.
The Lasombra spreading across the world, and they did.
Oh, no, the thought's gone. Damn it!
That was truly a tragedy.
It's gone. Fuck it, we're done with the history section. Close the book.
Yeah, the Lasombra spreading out across the world. Yeah, that's just like God saying, spread your progeny across the world.
Yeah. Have multitude amongst you, and then become the stewards of my planet. And speaking of which, we shall now talk about the Road of Night.
Yes.
And the Path of Night. And we're going to talk about the Word of Night first. Now, with Lasombra today, you will be hard-pressed to find a Lasombra that follows this road. The roads have fallen completely out of style. This is a medieval idea. It's no longer cool with a lot of new Canaanites. They tend to drop this. What the Word of Night is that Lasombras have a crisis of faith where they look at themselves and say, God is real, and am I the person that God wants me to be? They have the whole, like, VeggieTales musical number, it's what God wants me to do, it's what God wants me to be, and they think to themselves, the conclusion is, I gotta kill people for God. That's my conclusion.
Indeed.
I gotta find people that are worse than me, and I gotta beat them to death. And so you do. You as a Lasombra lament that you're a bad person by nature of being a Lasombra. You flagellate yourself over that. You do penance for that. If you find a good person, you do a good deed unto them, only because you're saving up your karma for the bad people that you find, in which case you turn them to shreds.
Yep.
Also, if you find another Canaanite, kill him. Even if it's a member of your own clan, kill them. That's the whole plot with the Road of Night. What do we think?
It sounds pretty reasonable to me.
You get to be the Christian values vampire.
Yes. For a clan that's so obsessed with, being the monster that God intended them to be, this is a much more noble version of it.
And you get to sing the silly song with Larry while you do it.
Yes. Is this what Ruslan was?
And then you have the Path of Night, which is Lasombra comes to the reverse of that conclusion. He says that this is hell. The world sucks. Everything is evil. All these people are inconsiderate, bitter, nasty. I hate humanity. I hate vampires. I hate being alive. I hate my life. I hate my wife. I hate my kids. I hate my wife's boyfriend. And so I'm going to perpetuate in the misery, because it's what God wants me to do. If God made the world so miserable, then I need to participate in spreading the misery. What you do as a Path of Night, Lasombra, is that you go around and make people's lives worse just for the sake of making it worse. You find
May
people
I
who
say
are doing
the ethics?
The ethics. Yeah, go ahead and say the ethics.
The ethics of the Path of Night.
Here it comes.
Here it goes. Leave no being untouched by your taint. Tempt and horrify those around you. The weak will fall, while the strong will be tempered by your testing of them. Inspire others to accept their inner darkness. Experience every sensation imaginable and then some. Death is a means, not an end. Kindred as souls damned by God fulfill their purpose by preying upon mortals.
That's the whole thing. You noticed, Kyle, you don't kill people as a Path of Night, Lasombra.
You just make everybody's lives suck.
Yes, you spread misery is the whole scheme. And if somebody dies,
why kill mortals when you can make them fear you?
that's the whole thing. And you're setting up another person's embrace and doing that too.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So what do you think of the idea?
That sounds pretty shit, in all honesty.
It sounds like a bad person, right?
Well, yeah, but that was the idea.
That's the whole idea, right? Lasombra around the world. Where can you find Lasombra? Everywhere except two places, Kyle. China and Egypt are two places you can't find Lasombra.
Really?
Because in... you remember that child that was embraced by Lasombra in Asia?
Yeah.
Well, what happened to them is they said, "Oh, I'm now the Chinese Lasombra. That's pretty cool." And then the Kuei Jin happened.
Oh,
and
yeah, that'd about do it.
And then with Egypt, the Setites, for whatever reason, well, we know the reason, but the Lasombra don't, refuse to let Egypt go. And refuse to share it with any clan that is not them.
Yeah,
unless
to them
you
it's
count
holy
Egypt by
because
night,
Set was there.
Yes, that's Set's holy land. So they're fighting any vampire that comes in, especially the Assamites. Oh, by the way, you're also collateral damage for the Assamites. And then I couple that with how the entire border of Egypt is being patrolled by sun shredders. It's just not worth it. It's just the juice, whatever you could have gotten out of Egypt, it's not worth the squeeze. And what was in Egypt anyway? Like oil to mine? Ruling through money is the Giovanni's thing. We got better things to do. That's just not our style.
Yeah, we need to make people afraid of things. That's the game changer.
Right. Yeah, you rule through fear with Lasombra. There's a whole spiel in the book too about how they say, yes, you are right to fear us because we are here to make your life miserable by God's intention. Is the whole shtick.
Yep.
In case you want to know who wrote the Code of Milan, that would be the Lasombra who did that. Because when it comes to Sabbat, running the Sabbat, because the Sabbat really is just the brainchild of the Lasombra. They are the ones who wrote the laws that dictate who does what within the clan, within the sect. That we need to stop fighting each other. We need to focus on vampire domination, establishing vampire supremacy around the world, and we cannot do that by killing each other. And then what do, Kyle?
All three of those things.
They kill each other.
Yes. But mostly it's the Zamichi's fault, but don't worry about it.
Yeah, an average dispute between Zamichi...
and it's just World War I.
Let me copy the image I found off of Newgrounds. Yeah. Kyle, you like Death Battle, don't you?
I used to watch it more when I was younger, yeah.
Yeah, I know Archie does. He's never going to forgive them for the Clive episode.
Wait, who?
There it is.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, that picture. Yeah, that picture. The episode they did on Shigaraki versus Mahito.
I only know what one of those things are.
They're both characters that essentially have vicissitude.
Oh, okay.
This whole thing. Kyle, you would love Mahito as a villain if you watched Jujutsu Kaisen. He is.
Yeah, I say Mahito is the true Samichi. He's Friedrich Nietzsche's definition of a free man.
Oh yeah, if you, Kyle, if you like the kind of antagonist that selects the protagonist and says, "I'm just going to do everything I can to hurt you," that's the kind of villain he is.
That sounds terrible.
Yes, he is such a good antagonist.
Oh, sweet summer child.
Oh yeah, you know the
terrible
shit this guy
doesn't cut
it. And if you're, I know Sean was here, he'd bring up the brothers Karamazov in that regard. But the whole thing with the Code of Milan is that they write this to try to keep Sabbat together, and then once again, does Zamichi have to be the fucking Zamichi as usual? And eventually the third Sabbat Civil War happens in 1957, and they finally say, oh, fucking right, let's just cut this shit out. And they finally look over and they say, all right, we need some guys to help level out the playing field with the Zamichi numbers. This is when Joseph Panders rose to prominence, by the way, thanks to his service in the Third Civil War. Look over at Joseph Panders, they say, you, what clan are you from? I'm a Kadif. You're a Kadif? How inspiring. We're going to now call every Kadif who joins the Sabbat the Panders, and you will be their leader. And they did this whole honorific title for Joseph Panders. They put him on a pedestal, and now they're putting a big emphasis on the anti-tribute. They really want to bring in more anti-tribute in order to levy against the Zamichi from taking over the Sabbat, because they're getting pretty damn sick to death of the Zamichi by this point.
Pretty much everybody would be, in all honesty.
And they're pretty cool with them. There's a whole section in this book too, but they bring in this character called Ming. And she says, I'm a Kadif, and here's what being a Kadif is like in the Sabbat. As you once again know, it kind of sucks being a Kadif in Sabbat. But the Lasombra actually do a good job in mentoring people. Because unless you are another Lasombra being mentored by Lasombra, you're going to hate your mentor. But if it's Lasombra mentoring someone else, they do a really good job. Because Lasombra will say, you want to know how the world works? We will tell you how the world works. The Lasombra are very practical people, you notice. Because spiritualism, that's the Zamichi's thing. They're not interested in this whole spiritual shit. They know that God is real. They know that there is a God, there is a heaven, there is a hell, but they're not going to see it. By nature of the Canaanite embrace, you have no spirit. When you die as a vampire, you face final death, there is no heaven or hell for you to go to. You just stop existing. That's the fate that waits for you.
Yep.
So you understand why every vampire clings to their life the best they can.
Absolutely.
And Let's see, let's flip through this. I think I can put my copy of second edition away during this time, and I can switch over to first for a moment. Well, actually, there is the whole like cultural factions within Lasombra I can go over for a minute.
Yeah, they got a couple of them. Let me see. Yeah,
the Crusaders. We'll go ahead. We'll bring the Crusaders are the Lasombra who are dedicated to the original image, vision of the Lasombra to kill elders. That's the name of the game. We're just going to go out. We're going to find elders, and we're going to kill them.
Yep.
Basic, right? Or anyone who's not Lasombra. If you're running a city, a Lasombra will just run in, kill you, take the city for themselves, and then just rule as if nothing changed.
Yep. New management. There we go. Easy peasy.
Kyle, who was a vampire who did exactly that? They can name.
That just ran in and ganked shit.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I'm gonna post his image, Kyle.
I'm trying to think. I know that they did that in. I know that did that in the DC by Night book.
Yeah. You just said DC by Night. Yeah, there's his picture.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the vampire though. Hang on, let me see.
Yeah, check it out.
Oh yeah, Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305. That's what he looks like. Not my fault.
Yeah, it does look like Pitbull.
3HB sent me a doctored version of his picture where he removed his hair.
That's great.
He sings all the songs that the Mexicans love.
Does
they fucking love Pitbull down in Central America.
Well, I mean,
you didn't have.
Yeah.
What?
He is pretty good, so
What?
I can't blame you there.
You didn't have the faithful, where these are guys who are usually like Lasombra who actually are buying what they're selling, or they're snake oil salesmen who are only telling you about religion in order to get you under their thumb. They'll tell you that, hey, maybe God will forgive you if you do enough stuff for me, and it's what God wants you to do. And they'll trick you into doing their bidding through religious dogma, as they did with the Catholic Church. The guy who heads this is Cardinal Moncada, who we will get to.
That's a
C
with the accent. That's a Mansada.
Mansada, okay.
Yes, same as facade.
What should we remind you of?
Shall I actually bring up Moncada now?
What?
Shall we talk about him?
Who? Oh, I mean, may as well. We're on the topic.
Yeah.
So Moncada's picture in revised fucking sucks because it's you notice in the back of the revised books, by the way, when it comes to like the lore characters that they're all drawn with the same fucking face.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Uh-huh.
I think that happened in the Toreador book, if I'm not mistaken.
It happens in all the revised books. They get the same artist who draws the same fucking face with every character. So here's what Moncada looks like. Well, Mansada looks like. There he is. Very, very grouchy, right?
Very flabby looking motherfucker.
He probably should have gotten some sleep before his embrace because now he's got permanent raccoon eyes.
Well,
Okay, he reminded me of the Inquisitors from Berserk.
Oh shit. I know who you're talking about. Father something.
Father Gauskus?
Mosgas.
Mosgas, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Father Mosgas.
So the whole thing with Moncada, by the way, is that he actually is probably the most important Lasombra in the whole story, more so than Gratiano. Gratiano fell off. Just people after Lasombra finally severed their blood bonds just stopped listening to Moncada. Well, no, not Moncada. Gratiano. Gratiano just did not have the leadership he thought he did. And ultimately, everything he did was for nothing, right? That's the whole irony with his character. Lasombra makes you a promise, and then he doesn't honor it because he actually can't control the promise. He says you might get the power you're looking for, but you might not.
Yep.
Genius, right?
Absolutely.
So Mansada was sired in 1153 is when he was embraced. He's forever 53 years old. He was a priest in his moral life, and he is also the sire of Lord character Lucita de Aragon, who we will get to next. And this man is actively sabotaging the Sabbat in America in order to put more power into his own pocket with the European Sabbat, waiting for... this is the plan. Archie, you know this tactic because you've read Dune. Now, it is the exact same plan with House Atreides and House Harkonnen. The plan is we are going to let the Sabbat in America die on purpose. So the Camarilla can come in and think that they got a big head and they've actually succeeded, that the fight's done. They're going to spread out. They're going to get decadent. They're going to slip up. What we then do as the European Sabbat is that we slowly come in, put our operatives around the world, and then rug pull this Camarilla within a single night. We then flip a switch, and then kill all the elders, kill all the princes out to get fat, kill all these new young vampires that have no idea what their powers are because they're not being taught by the Camarilla anymore. And then we just flip the switch within a single night, and now we have a brand new American Sabbat that will do everything that I say is the plot.
Perfection.
That's the whole thing. This dude's basically Baron Harkonnen in terms of character.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And does he succeed in his plan, Kyle? No, because Fatima al-Fakadi kills him in 1999.
Ah, fuck.
That's what happens. Which ironically makes Fatima al-Fakadi one of the greatest heroes in all of World of Darkness, actually. She unknowingly saved the world doing that. And then, shall we talk about Lucia de Aragon now, who's the face of the whole Lasombra book, by the way?
Yeah, who's Lucita de Aragon?
So this is the worst character in the whole clan, by the way. She wants to be the face of the clan. The writers really want her to be the face of the clan. But for the life of themselves, they cannot decide on how they want to write her. There's two Lucia de Aragons, Kyle. There's the very prickly, badass, like dark, like 90s anti-hero chick that they want to write.
Oh yeah.
She's written like a female version of Spawn in like the books that treat her right. And then in the other one, she's like this deranged, bipolar, depressed slut who just fucks everybody.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very inspiring, I gotta say.
She convinces Fatima al-Fakadi to commit haram and fuck her in was the most cringe section of all the novels. It was a finger off. It was, I'm going to get my big fat obtenoration finger and put in your pussy, and then you take your slicked quietus finger and put in my pussy, and whoever comes first wins.
That's disgusting.
And that was the whole thing going on. It's this really like out of nowhere plot point that has nothing to do with the story. The writer who just got really fucking horny for that part of the book, and then she breaks up with Cuthbert Beckett, and then that's it. She basically like fucking just vanishes from the plot.
Honestly, it's probably best for Beckett because, you know, he is the main character. So
yeah, well, when she leaves you for another man, that's something that you could fight. But if she leaves you for a woman,
no,
yeah,
Beckett, just take the L and leave. Get the fuck up out of there.
Yeah, you gotta feel bad for Beckett. His girlfriend became gay, and his other friend Anatole jumped into a pile of Zamichi bodies and died.
Yeah, Beckett needs a new friend. I should be Beckett's friend.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing with the faithful. The Black Angels, who are essentially the people who are... they refer to themselves, by the way, as another name, the Angels Atter, that believes that they're God's chosen vampires that are here to do God's will and making the world a worse place. They almost all follow the path of night and are just here to make the world worse for everybody. And that's it.
They're just the Blood Angels from fucking Warhammer 40k.
No, they're not the Blood. They are not the Blood Angels. They are the Night Lords.
Yeah, the Night Lords or the Black Legion is what they are. The Blood Angels are actually the most virtuous people. Some of the most virtuous characters in all of Warhammer 40k.
Really thinking about it now, the Blood Angels will be Lasombra on the road of night.
Yes. The one thing with the Blood Angels is that they just can't control themselves because the gene seed is now damaged beyond all repair by chaos.
Right.
So they now all have dementia. Great.
Yeah, good job.
No, they don't have just dementia. They have the Red Thirst. They have the Black Rage.
Well, they will rip open a woman's legs while she's menstruating and lick the pussy blood right out between her legs.
That's some fucking Bruja behavior right there.
Yeah. They never say that the blood has to come from the neck.
That is true. That's kind of gross.
Yeah.
I imagine that's just a weird vampire fetish.
That Colt Mason, would you drink the blood out of a man's pussy?
Or does not care from where the blood flows.
No. That was good, Archie.
And now we get into the other faction, the Abyss Children, where these are guys that talk about Abyss mysticism. Now we have to talk about Abyss mysticism. So Kyle, you know how the Tremere, the Assamites, and the Setites can all do magic?
Yes.
Well, actually, Dimitri can too.
You
This is
mean
Lasombra magic, and it is only possible through rituals. It is ritualistic hermetic magic, sourced directly from hell itself, aka the Abyss.
Oh, well, I don't see that backfiring anyhow.
You cast a spell, do a ritual, and then the power of hell will reward you, usually in the form of knowledge, is what it typically gives you. Like, the Abyss knows, where you just get some information from the Abyss. Or at very high levels, you go into torpor, you get to go to hell, and get to talk with the demons of hell, and then come back with the knowledge that they taught you. Is how most of the shit goes. Or you can do stuff like Maw of Aramon, where a vampire of your choice will fall into his shadow and will be in hell for 7 days.
Jesus.
Which is just a very easy way and convenient way to get a vampire off a fight, right?
Yeah, I suppose it is, but I imagine it's kind of hard to actually get that ritual to work.
Well, yeah, because a lot of this stuff, their basic role for Abyss mysticism is, look at this, wits and occult difficulty 3 plus the level of the ritual that you're doing, capping off at 9. You have levels 1 through 7 in this. A level 7 ritual by that point is a fucking plot device by that point. There is a level 8 and a level 9, but I don't know where they're sourced from. So I'll take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But basically that's the shit you're doing with these guys. And on top of that, you can imagine how insane you'd go from talking to hell on a daily basis.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's very good. Well, I mean, hell, that's the whole thing with the Black Spiral dances. You literally go to hell for the ritual. See some horrendous fucked up shit that basically destroys who you were before.
Yes. You then have the kings and queens of the shadows, where these are people, you remember how the Venture anti-tribute are all about, we used to be kings and queens back in the day, and now we're office monkeys? Fuck that shit, I ain't doing that. The Lasombra or that follow this section are the same way, where they wish to have these ideas of kingship and queenship, but they rather do it from the shadows. They've never been like a sit on the throne kind of person. They prefer being in the background. Because after all, you get some schmuck to do the work for you, and then you work as a shadow government. But the ironic thing about these guys, Kyle, they all tend to have really high humanity scores. You gotta keep a good head, am I right?
I mean, yeah, and that is admirable, but to what extent?
These guys are also usually your rank and file members of the Amici Noctis who are trying to keep the Sabbat from falling apart.
Gotcha.
I mean, as a ruler, you have to be both loved and feared. Not just
yes, because nobody's gonna give a fuck about you if everybody hates you. You're seeing that with Iran right now.
Yes,
they're finally saying we're not gonna take this shit no more, and then now like Abdullah's wearing the black ring of death on his finger.
Yeah,
and has the black.
Like 2,000, I think 2,000 people have died so far the past day or so. And they've put everybody on house arrest, but they're still like standing at their windows shouting out about how much they hate the Ayatollah.
And then meanwhile, Iran has no allies to help them.
Nope.
You remember when I was still on talking terms with Rashid, where Rashid himself told me that Iran literally has no allies. Like not even Russia or China actually likes them.
Yeah, somebody did a meme about that where it was like, hey, man, we're pretty short-staffed at work. Yeah, I bet. That's crazy. We could use some help. I'm sure you could. Anyway, good luck. That's basically what they did to Iran.
Anyway, let's get back to the kings and queens of the Lasombra.
Next up is the Corsairs. We're taking a look at this. These are...
Yar har fiddly tea.
They say,
that's
exactly that. They say, I don't want to be a king. I don't want to be a queen. I want to be a pirate. And so they do.
And you know what? They're probably having more fun than every other fucking Lasombra.
No, the only way this is possible now is in Africa. With the Somalians and the Sudani. And that's it. How much has piracy changed over time, Kyle?
Quite a bit, I'd say. Of course, it's really hard now that like any ship that goes around like the Horn of Africa, every single crew is just armed to the teeth.
Yes. And you got these Lasombra going around with a cutlass in one hand, an AK-47 in the other, and then Lasombra tendrils come out of their back.
Okay, like Helsing Ultimate, like
It
Helsing
would be
Operation.
pretty sick, though. I'm not gonna lie.
That's not fair. Sorry, we don't give a fuck.
Yeah. The whole fight with that Alucard and Rip Van Winkle, that's what's going on with Lasombra in Africa. And then the transhumanists, who are Lasombra who lose their fucking minds after talking with the Samichi. And they end up picking up the Samichi's ideas of, we can't really mutate ourselves the same way that the Samichi can, but we can become Ubermensch. They follow the ideas of like Friedrich Nietzsche and want to become the Superman vampire, where they completely forego their humanity. They're all about being a big man that's not actually a man. You're just like the sideways facing Chad, and you're a fucking psycho if you're one of these guys.
Basically, yeah. But even, Zamichi said it best, or not Zamichi, Nietzsche said it best when he said philosophers are full of shit.
The best book he ever wrote
especially
was
him.
Yes.
Nietzsche was a fucking bastard.
He went insane because of the conclusions he came to.
Yep.
And he realized that all these philosophers, you only say you're right because you got a book published. Well, guess what? We live in a time of AI. Anybody can get a book published now. Kyle got one published.
Yeah, I know. Right? Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's like, so everything that Kyle says is right.
Yes, my pulp sci-fi novel about wolves in space is correct.
That you got your stepsister to do the art for.
Not stepsister, sister-in-law.
That's it. Yeah, I forgot what it was called for a minute.
Yeah. Anyway, the Fatalists.
The Fatalists. Archie, this is the Espresso Depresso vampire. It's my fate to be a vampire. I'm fucked into everything I'm doing. I'm just going to suck my mentor's dick forever and then just be his bitch for all time.
The only way to refute a moral nihilist is to kill them.
And how do they entertain themselves? They just throw themselves into frenzy and just destroy every room they're in. For fun. It's it.
Bro, just step into the sun.
Vampire. Yeah. And then you have the Doomed, who are exactly that. These are vampires that end up going a little bit too deep into obtenebration, will actively carve up their bodies with obtenebration, and tend to go fucking insane.
Yeah,
because they just can't handle being a Lasombra. And then, usually what these guys do is that they just walk into a police station, just open fire on everybody in the police station, and the SWAT team is then called in, and then we have a dead vampire in a masquerade breach.
It seems like there aren't a whole lot of those.
Yeah, that's why you want to catch these guys before you embrace one of them.
Yeah, probably.
You don't want to embrace a psycho, after all. Take a look at this. Courts of Blood, or necessarily just how the Lasombra do politics. So how does this discipline work with the Lasombra? Well, here's what you want to do. You want to get a room. You want to fill that room with darkness. You want to send in the person you're about to lecture into the dark room, and you don't want to let them know where you are in that room. Kyle, you remember we had that scene in Las Vegas by Night?
Yes, we did.
Where we went to it twice. We had an entire church service in complete darkness.
Yep. We talked to Geronimo Baseggio, who I thought was a decent guy.
As it turns out, he was going down the road of Christianity because he was looking to save himself more than anything else.
And you know what? That's valid.
Yeah. And the whole thing with why there's this whole insistence on darkness, why the Lasombra will actually get like other people in the dark room with you to muscle up on you. It's all about control and intimidation with the Lasombra. There are 4 things we're going to put points into as a Lasombra: manipulation, wits, occult, and intimidation. Those are what you got to next into. After you're done with that, you're good. That's all the points you got to put into with your Lasombra character. That's it. Because that's your dominate and your obtenebration completely covered. Right there. Because you notice, Kyle, just how much stuff involving obtenebration uses the occult stat?
Yeah, it seems to be its primary role stat.
As in, like, every power is the occult stat.
Yeah, basically.
By that point. Let's see here, declare the set. Let's go ahead and drop into the list ships. Let's go ahead and go to list ships. Do you have first or second edition up in front of you?
I have second edition. I revised.
All right. Let me close this. Let me pull up first.
All right. Let me see here. Yep. Okay. So I've got it here.
By the way, the second edition artwork in this book, by the way, it's really good.
It is. It's honestly pretty sick.
Its second edition is good, and then first edition is also really good. In fact, for this section, Kyle, I'm gonna say hold your horses for just a minute. Let me get a screenshot.
Okay. Yeah, because the artwork in this book is actually pretty phenomenal, I gotta say.
Go ahead. Archie, you got an idea?
No.
So shall we begin with Gasamites?
Well, actually, it starts out in revised edition with the Sabbat itself, and then goes into like the different factions within the Sabbat. So I can start there if that's cool.
Well, I think we know what they think of the Sabbat by this point.
Well, yeah, they founded the Sabbat. It's their thing. So let's start with the first on the list
their baby.
in revised edition, which is the Samichi.
Here's a screenshot, by the way, that's coming up in 3.
All right, hang on one sec. Oh, yeah, see, look, this is fucking awesome. Look at this shit.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That is one of the most iconic games of Vampire.
That honestly looks phenomenal. Like, it's so menacing, and it, like, just shows this guy trapped in the fucking
eating out the palm of my hand.
Yeah, it looks incredible. Like, that's some solid artwork. Like,
along with the pre-made characters in first edition are drawn in an anime adjacent style without it being cringe.
Yep. I looked through the same in revised edition, and I quite like those character designs as well. They're really solid.
Oh yeah. Well, one of them is just straight up Del Gribble.
Yeah. Man, I'm gonna get down the goddamn Sabbat and all that, but damn Samichi come on there, but I to braid all that thing.
That is watertight seal. I can do the jihad in a hurricane. Can you do the jihad in a hurricane, Bill?
Okay. So the starting from the top, you have the Samichi, at least in revised edition. The Fiends are their closest allies and most bitter rivals. Lasombra should never forget that they initiated the revolt that led to the Sabbat's formation. Before Gratiano and his allies acted, before Les Amis Noirs endorsed their actions, a few disgruntled people made only some haphazard strikes, and Lagauche and his followers imitated Gratiano after that. The Samichi just hate to be second fiddle on anything, and so they're still and always going to be bitter about the fact that they aren't in charge of the Lasombra. But then again, they wouldn't be in charge of anything had it not been for the Lasombra. So, watch your back, but, you'll eventually find some common ground.
What? Archie, what happens when the Samichi's in charge of anything? Just what happens?
Pain and suffering.
Nothing good. Nothing ever gets done.
Yeah.
That's what they say in first edition too, where first edition just they use more flowery language in first edition, but essentially those Lasombra just tarred wrangle the Samichi all damn day.
That is precisely what they do.
That's it. Just they say that you have to prey on their arrogance, you have to prey on their ambitions, you have to get them to think they're in charge, and then you're controlling them from the background, because these guys won't do a damn thing you say if you try to lord over them.
Yep. It's just pain and suffering.
Yeah, Lasombra leads the Sabbat and is holding the leash of the Grimly Samichi.
And I also say, if a Samichi forms a grudge with you, immediately kill the Samichi. Immediately do it.
Yep.
Because the Samichi hold a grudge. The Samichi hold grudges forever. They never live anything down as a clan.
Use them if you can, but otherwise kill them if they get in your way.
Because after all, the Samichi are still barking up the tree of the Tremere.
Oh yeah, they always will.
Yeah.
That rivalry is as old as time.
They're never gonna let that go.
No.
So does.
And moving on, the revised edition actually has a section on, the Blood Brothers. I don't know if that's in first edition, but
No, it's not.
oh, interesting. Okay.
Well, it's because they didn't think of the idea of the Blood Brothers during this time.
So, experimentation is, is incredibly important to the continuation of the Lasombra and the Sabbat at large. And, they were going to decline new opportunity. If, had they declined any new opportunities, then, the Camarilla and the Anarchs would be able to easier predict the Sabbat's movements and eventually destroy them. Though they wonder if the Blood Brothers actually does anything to the sect. They already have cannon fodder, so it doesn't really seem like, maybe some of them might get something done, but, maybe they'll, but, it's highly unlikely they'll amount to anything. Because they suck. They're the Blood Brothers. They're not good.
Yeah. Archie, what we gotta do is we gotta get these little boys to fight for us, and everything's gonna go right.
Yeah, I can't see how any of that could ever go wrong, ever.
Archie kind of says something, doesn't it? That the Lasombra have more faith in the little boys than they do in the Zamichi.
Well, at least they listen.
Yeah. Exactly that.
Yep.
Wow, Catholic priest and no little Jimmy between his legs.
Yeah, we know where this is going.
The Harbinger of Skulls. I don't know. I don't want to know. That's it.
Yeah, it's just Cappadocious by another name.
Yep, basically. Kiasid. If you ever learn anything, let me know. That's it. And
this whole thing with the Kiasi is that they just lock themselves in a room all day and then never come.
Yeah, that's why I don't know anything about them. The Panders, aka the Canites. Speaking of cannon fodder, they find their pretensions to the clan status profoundly amusing. Always encourage them. They're helpful if you need to wrangle a Zamichi. A few of their members show some real aptitude for the clan's disciplines and lore. Recruit them away from the Camarilla and arrange for, a proper surrogate sire to fold them into the clan. Pretty good.
They treat them the same way that Democrats treat Hispanic people.
Basically, yeah. They're just, free votes.
They're just here to be a block vote.
Yep. Salubri. Go ahead. Oh, Jesus Christ. The Salubri. They occupy a very era-rich, important, it's kind of unprecedented that the Salubri would actually be willing to, help fight the Tremere, but, they were a great cautionary tale initially about, what one clan could do to another if the antediluvians allowed it. And, it's very hard to destroy any group of vampires, but, they expected that the survivors might, just huddle in the wastelands and just subsist until they die. But, when they do show up, even though it may be a sign of Gehenna, they're just incredible warriors when they get down to it.
Mm-hmm. After all, Samael came how close to killing Zamichi?
Very, very close. They were in a battle for dominance for a while.
Samael won that fight, and if it wasn't for Zamichi's fucking wingmen, he could have saved us all.
Yes. Literally, the Salubri are the best faction of vampires. I'm not even joking.
And now they're all dead, Archie.
Yep. Just like the fucking White Howlers. They have to take away everything good.
There are no heroes in the world of darkness.
No, they're not.
No.
Heroes get remembered, but legends never die.
You gotta die a hero to be the
villain. Dark Knight. You know what? A Batman game wouldn't be that far-fetched.
We all know that the Camarilla, they're not good people, but neither are we.
Anyway,
yes, I am the Joker. I am the Heath Ledger Joker. Yes.
He just smacks his lips a lot.
You gotta do that because it's like coke. That's similar to coke abuse.
Hi.
Anyway.
Murray, can you do me one thing? Can you introduce me as Melvin, brother of the Joker?
God damn it! I knew you were gonna fucking bring that up, son of a bitch.
They should have put him in the next Joker movie. They should have done. They should put Melvin.
No, they shouldn't have.
It would have been better than what they made.
They sabotaged that movie on purpose. They did the same thing that the Matrix reboot did. They just wanted to burn studio money.
Yeah, just put Melvin in it.
And honestly, you know what? Good. Waste the studio's money. Hollywood deserves it. Anyway, other anti-tribute.
Let's keep going with relationships.
Yes. We're getting off topic a lot in this video.
We're having fun. That's why.
Yes. Okay. So, when it comes to the other anti-tribute, even though the Zamichi, form a meaningful set of lineages and are bound together in blood and tradition, their social and ideological coherence is quite misguided. The anti-tribute tend to exist with a no rather than a yes to all the tradition that would otherwise bind a clan. They annihilate our respective antediluvians in the service of their own survival and the goal of ultimate freedom. And the anti-tribute initially begin with rejection, turning against their ancestors, which the Sabbat are all about. That's great. And, so when it comes to the anti-tribute, the narrator himself mentions on page 59 that he does have a personal fondness for any of the Ventru anti-tribute. Because
you also notice how in this, Kyle, the narrator writes as if all these clans are already working for him.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
The Lasombra like to think that they're on top of the pyramid when they, like I said, they just play second.
Given that they're in the whole evangelical phase of the Sabbat now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You want to be a hero, kid? Join us. Join the Sabbat. Come work for the Sabbat. Join us. Join us. That's the whole scheme they're doing now.
Yes. And
it's like a set type at this point.
Basically, yeah. They have the same amount of, just deism and fanaticism. Then they move on to the Camarilla, and it's just a whole bunch of just shit talking about all the fucking different factions of the Camarilla to start off. And so we come to the Bruja.
they call it Camarilla. They call it Camarilla just like communist by design in first edition.
Really?
They say, oh, it's supposed to be like, oh, we're a big team and we all share everything together. Except like actual communism, all the power and wealth goes to those in charge, and those who actually got the capital get nothing.
Basically, yeah. It all goes up to the Ventru.
Yeah.
And maybe
really
a Toreador
does.
or two because they suck so much dick.
And
Anyway.
a Tremere who needs new weapons.
Yep. Starting from the top, you have the Bruja. The book. Oh my god, it's so funny. And I'm going to read this verbatim just because it's hilarious and Johnny will laugh at this. If I were forced to pick the single most pathetic clan, Bruja would get my vote. Even ahead of the Toreador and the Gangrel.
Mm-hmm.
They are the parasites. They cower away from mortal eyes rather than striding forth in glory or simply blinding the kind with their hot pokers, aka knives or whatever they got on them. It prides itself in rebellion, but can't actually manage to leave or otherwise change the status quo, and the anti-tribute are no different.
They call it
based. Fucking based.
Archie, how many Bruja achievements are there in history? It's a trick question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone was undercut by something else fucking them up. The French Revolution was undercut by the Cults of Reason, and the Russian Revolution was undercut by the Shadow Lords, and,
You willingly gave away Athens to the Ventru?
Yep, the American West was eventually conquered by the Kuei Jin. They're kind of up shit creek without a paddle. I can't say the Lasombra are necessarily incorrect.
And Lasombra call it like it is in first edition. They say all this egalitarian populist shit that the Bruja talk about, they're not buying any of it. It's just to make themselves feel like they're right and to feel like they're intelligent.
Basically, yeah.
Sweet irony.
It is.
They call them. They call it like it is. You're just a debate, bro. You're no longer concerned about being moral. You're just concerned about being right.
And they're not even right half the time.
Because you will make up new definitions and get semantic just to be
the
right.
Bruja are never right.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're Ragnar Ling, in which case you're the last based Bruja.
The best use you can get from a Bruja is is make make them sheriff and allow them to punch whatever they want. That is the only good use
That's
you
it.
can put them.
Just to wind them up like a chihuahua and then just let them loose.
Basically. Speaking of Chihuahuas, the Gangrel. Pretty good poster children for wasted potential. They could rule the wilds if they had any sort of organization. They, basically scatter to the wind in what they believe to be the approaching Gehenna. And, their strengths don't really challenge the Lasombra in any way. They make a little effort now and again to try to recruit them because it's, useful to have somebody out in the wild that knows what the hell's going on. They could strengthen and diversify the Sabbat if they were willing to accept discipline, but the problem is that they have none. And you know what? I am just fine with that. Get out of my house.
In first edition, they say, I'm always expecting a gangrel to climb up a tree and get a banana and then soak it in blood and eat it. When I see one.
That actually sounds good. I might have to do that.
They're saying they're just a bunch of monkey men, not being racial, just like reverse like Rousseau's noble savage is what they mean by that. There's no use for the gangrel in their minds, so just let them die. Just let them die.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm sitting on my back porch with a cigar, enjoying the fine weather.
Yes. No, not impressed at all, are they?
I don't have to impress anyone. Anyway, I get to talk about Vic, Malkavians.
Malkavian.
Visionary lunatic, potato. They sometimes suspect that the Malkavians' collective dreams are a result of a botched effort to simulate, Lasombra's experience in the Abyss, which isn't exactly far from the truth. If you remember the Malkavian, lore, is that the whole reason for Malkev's madness was that Cain had cursed him with the knowledge of heaven. He showed him revelation, and Malkev went insane. In honesty, they might be the exact opposite of Lasombra. The Malkavians got knowledge of the afterlife, and Lasombra got the knowledge of hell. So they would be exact opposites, interestingly enough. But the Lasombra seem to understand from what they're told by the Malkavian Tribune that all of their subconscious workings are the nature of communications between all Malkavian kin. They stayed long enough to master obtenebration to a surprising degree, so there is a basis for comparison as far as how powerful they actually are. The precise nature of the curse is unclear to the Lasombra, but they're wondering if it's just imbecility or, a giant prank on them to make them think that they're less than what they are.
In first edition, they have no faith in the Malkavians. As practical people, they say that this whole I can see the future, I can see the past shit is bullshit. And they say that picture the Camarilla as a household. That the Ventru and the Toreador are working men coming home. The Malkavian is their toddler that is a toddler forever. Constantly crying, constantly making a mess, constantly shitting his pants, and then he throws the shit around the house, and he's just there to be a parasite and a burden on the Camarilla. And because of that, the Lasombra have no interest in bringing any of them into to Sabbat.
I can see the future.
I can see the future, Mom. My grandchildren's mom.
Anyway,
that's how I see them.
I'm kill all my race in the future.
You see, that's part of the reason why I was trying to get Praise Abort by Lindemann to play at the story episode.
Yeah, but sadly, no dice. Anyhow,
the Lasombra would subscribe to the philosophy of backdoor no baby.
Yep. The Nosferatu. Any clan that altogether appears so pathetically useless that survives no matter what has to be up to something they don't see. Not to say that a passage describes the Nosferatu as the first to fall in any war between vampires. They have very little faith in the Nosferatu for some reason, despite the fact that they are the best at gathering information and incredibly good at surviving. They don't, as they say, they don't display much collective wisdom, so the idiot savant information broker act may simply lull others into a blissful ignorance. The ones that do associate with the Sabbat are rather shifty. They're not always smart, but they are very clever. And they see too much, even with the clan's particular advantages in the way of darkness. So very little faith in the Nosferatu, despite all the advantages that they have, which in all honesty, is part of the reason the Sabbat is kind of losing to the Camarilla. If you just listen to your Nos just a little bit more, what few anti-tribute you do have, maybe, just maybe, you'd get a better foothold against the Camarilla.
The Nosferatu really are just hard carrying the entire Camarilla.
They are.
And in first edition, they sing a different tune. The Lasombra are looking at the Nosferatu, and they're saying, "You are so much like us. You're an aristocracy of merit. You sit on your laurels, you play the waiting game, and then you strike. You realize the value of information and knowledge. We could, if you ever ate crow and teamed up with us, we could solve your Absimiliard problem today. We could solve your Nick Tuku problem today. But because you don't realize how smart we are, it doesn't happen."
Yep. Always overlooked. Never under. Goodness, it's just always. Gee, I can't fucking even think. I'm still mad about this. Never overlook the Nos. Never.
This Lasombra are wishing there was a world that they were in the timeline where the Nosferatu teamed up with them instead of the Zmichi.
But that's not going to happen because the Nosferatu get very comfortable treatment by the fucking Camarilla.
Archie, if it did, the Lasombra would have won.
Yep.
If it did. But by that point, can you imagine just how deadly that combination would be, by the way?
That would be terrifying beyond rational thought.
Well, no, just as much like player characters too in the game. Like you have a Lasombra and a Nosferatu who are buddy.
Oh yeah. Toreador, I kind of want to read this verbatim just because I think it's really funny. Poetry, sweet poetry. I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree. There. Now if you were a Toreador in disguise, the beauty of my words would captivate you. Then I would slaughter you and your servants and seize your goods to sell later. What a wonderful clan they are. I found that some of the anti-tribute find our shadow-transformed bodies equally captivating. When you master the Black Metamorphosis, you can build a little legion of Toreador admirers if such suits your plans. Don't think very highly of the Toreador. They find their art just, meaningless.
They see them as just a bunch of sheep too. They say they fail to realize that art is an expression of a cultured mind, not culture itself. And Archie, as an art student, can point that out because he can point out, say, Jackson Pollock and Marcel Duchamp really did just run art into the ground in his mind.
Did it really?
Picasso and Marcel Duchamp.
Would you like to sell a toilet with your name on it?
They have opened the gates of mediocrity, and now mediocrity is being celebrated.
And now you're able to sell a banana with duct tape for $6 million.
See,
All you have to say, you're a concept artist.
This is why I'm a staunch Edward Hopper fan.
Mm-hmm. It's like anyone's an artist. Anyone can go into dada art.
American realism for the win.
Yeah. And the CIA funded the whole thing.
Yes, they did in order to defeat the Russians. Now this stuff, they said Louis
We got to make the art stupid to defeat the Russians.
That's basically what we did is, modern art is basically the world's biggest psyop.
And meanwhile, just how fucking awesome Russian music is. I shit you not.
I mean, their classical music.
I will actually get down with some Tchaikovsky. I'll just lay on my back and listen to that.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. Anyhow, Tremere. This is one of the few clans that the Lasombra actually takes seriously. They have effective organization with allowances for all of the bullshit that comes with being a Tremere. The systematic study of thaumaturgy, which is predicated on the in-living condition, which leads practitioners into equally inhuman states of mind. Whether they decide to pursue collective power, they would be serious rivals indeed. But fortunately, they keep betraying each other, and that prevents them from being a credible threat against Lasombra. He used to have some contact, the narrator that is, had some contact with the Tremere Antitribu. Rumor has it that something befell him, and he might be dead.
In first edition, they weren't particularly impressed with Goretrix's gang, but they did say, the moment you get a Tremere on your staff, get him under your thumb. Do not ever let him up, because the minute he realizes that he's stronger than you will never get control over him again.
More than likely, you'll just die.
Yes. That's the whole thing. You have a very prickly relationship. They want Tremere. They want to get Tremere on their staff, but they are very, very difficult to control, more so than Zamichi.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
either way is that they're gonna be in a rough sort of affairs trying to deal with that. But you know,
Yeah. Monsada and Goretrix have a very complicated relationship.
yeah. Very short note of the Ventru, and I'll read this one verbatim just because it's pretty funny. Think of the Lasombra. Subtract the intelligence, the forethought, the style, and the dedication to supremacy. That's the Blue Bloods. Like us, but stupid.
And there's a little bit of projection there, right?
Yeah.
Just a little
That's
bit.
it.
Just a bit.
That's it.
A little bit of sneeding there, don't you think?
Just a bit.
It's Lasombra going, oh, the Ventru? Oh, I don't care about the Ventru. No. Who are the Ventru? I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about. Now, people wouldn't call you a very humble person. Well, I am humble. I am very humble. I'm actually more humble than you think I am.
Oh my God, shut up.
And the whole thing with the Ventru is that they say, the Ventru in first edition took on leadership as a sort of like martyrdom idea, saying, will nobody take up the burden for leadership? I guess I'll have to be the one to do it. And Lasombra said, we did it because we're good at being a leader. That's why we did it. We're not trying to make ourselves more important than we actually are, even though that is exactly what the Lasombra are doing.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And now the Independents, all the other ones. The revised edition is in order, but not in order. It's weird.
Oh yeah, they like chopped it up and revised.
Yeah, they did. So, the Assamites. You need a scorecard to keep a track of what they're up to now. Many of the longtime Sabbat have returned to clan strongholds, and they just haven't, and they have not all just been wiped out. Meanwhile, a whole fresh crop of Sabbat admirers is spreading through many of the cities. You know, proceed with extreme caution when dealing with the Assamites. The Black Hand seems to be in some sort of substantial disarray, but that does not make them powerless. If if you could get one on your side, I mean, that'd be phenomenal, but just be very, very careful around the Assamites. Because they'll eat you.
In first edition, they say, shut up and take my money. The minute you can do business with an Assamite, do business with an Assamite. Get these guys on your staff as soon as possible, and do not cheat them on pay because they will kill you.
Well, Senor Shrek, do not mind if I do.
That's the whole thing. Some are just shoving down all the dollars they have down the throats of the Assamite, getting them to do whatever they can.
Basically, it's that Florka Cow's picture. It's just like the Lasombra and the Assamites. It's like, hey, see that Ventru over there? He said that Hakim's a bitch, and then just starts glaring at him.
Archie, have you ever looked at Quietus and what Quietus can do in Vampire?
And no.
With Dagon's Call, you just run your fingers across the guy's skin, and his throat will proceed to fill with blood.
You
Non-stop.
literally just Omaiwamu Shindeu some people.
Yes.
Omaiwamu
Shindeu.
Nani?
As proceed as his throat swells up like a gibbon's and pops in blood.
Yep. I fucking love the Assamites. They're the most based vampire.
You don't fuck with these guys.
I fucking love the Assamites.
If we were to bring a fifth person onto For Memory by Night, I'd be saying, please Assamite, please Assamite, please Assamite.
I would love for there to be an Assamite. That would be so good. Okay.
I gotta commit to the set type bit, though. I'd do it myself, but now we got a set type to run.
Oh, fuck. We gotta talk about Nozomi again. The
We
followers
gotta
are
talk about
set.
Giovanni first.
Well, mine goes in the wrong order. It goes Set and then Giovanni.
Oh, well, let's do the set types then.
Yeah. So, if you ever find, the Abyss too intimidating, try the Setites. They dress up the darkness with a snake, if you like that sort of thing. It seems like a cartoon version of truths that the Lasombra have already, bit down on. They're useful business associates, but set your boundaries carefully.
As they point out in first edition, these guys call themselves serpents, but you're more predictable than you think. You're not the hunters that you really think you are. Though we do appreciate that you guys are evil as shit, and you refer to yourselves as evil.
Yep.
So, we don't have that much, we have more in common than you think you do, Setites.
Yep. Basically. The Giovanni. They really don't get them, and they have no interest in working with them. Or, well, actually, they don't understand that, and they don't want to understand that, so long as they have people who can work with them. They might think that there's...
Remember when I posted the Spider-Man meme with the Lasombra and the Giovanni?
Yeah.
They're just pointing at each other?
Yeah.
That's great. Like, they have some sympathy of outlook, but they don't really find a whole much point of they don't find much of a point in contacting the dead. They think it's, even more pathetic than the Camarilla and their masquerade. But then...
Yeah, that's the same hang up in first edition, too. They say, why are you talking to ghosts and making zombies?
Well, because they're kind of useful.
Yeah. There's really, really unimpressive in first edition.
Yes. Same thing in second.
Is that they just don't give a fuck about these guys to have no interest in actually recruiting to Giovanni.
No. The Ravnos. They despise the Ravnos. They don't even care about the gypsies and all that. They just fucking hate the shit out of them. They hate what they do. Their fucking gifts are disorienting. When a Ravnos is in the area, your wisest course of action is to fall back and hide. Don't interact with it. Don't talk to it. Don't look at anything of value in your house because it will disappear. Just get the fuck away from them.
Your disciplines, whack. Your attire, whack. Your whole thing, whack.
Dude, in first edition, they say that the clan Ravnos is God's little test of patience made just for Lasombra.
That is precisely what they are.
They're only here to annoy you. That Lasombra actually say, if the Ravnos try doing anything with you, stonewall them. Do not give the Ravnos any reaction for anything that they do. They'll eventually go bored with you and move to someone else.
If I just ignore it, it will go away.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's just...
Yeah, go ahead.
What else is next? Who's next?
I have the Cathians, or Cathians.
Oh, the Kuei Jin.
Yes. Yeah, it's vampire native to other parts of the world. From your historical standpoint, you study about the interactions of vampires in Africa and other non-European clans. They don't like the term Cathian themselves, so why not just use the Kuei Jin? They call themselves the Pentuple Court or the Cross Court, basically the equivalent to the Camarilla and the Sabbat, but all the way over in the east. They think it's like 3 clans, maybe 8, who knows?
It's 9.
Yeah, they honestly do not know. Pretty much everything in the part about the Kuei Jin is just conjecture. They don't know.
Because nobody lives to tell the tale.
No, because they're ludicrously powerful. It's what happens when you use worm magic to create a vampire.
On paper, they're powerful. Mechanically speaking, the Kuei Jin actually really underperform.
Really?
2K Knight. Yeah, the Kuei Jin are not strong mechanically.
I'm surprised to hear that. Huh?
These guys will get their asses beat in any fight they go into.
Even I can kill Kuei Jin.
Yeah, in terms of power scaling, rates are the only thing below a Kuei Jin.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay.
Power scaling, and then meanwhile, a changeling would fucking smoke them.
Oh, it wouldn't even be a contest. A changeling would poke them, and they would just eviscerate on the contact.
Yeah, that's it.
Should I go into all the other fancy little things that occur in the world of darkness?
Like lupines?
Yes, like wolves. It's much
The
easier.
filthy mutts.
Yes.
Yes.
It's much easier
Damn
for a wolf
doggo.
to destroy you on an individual basis than vice versa. You have some advantages, even though you reek very strongly of blood and whatever else it is that makes the werewolves want to kill you. But you also pose a less tempting target than the Camarilla or Independent Wanderer. When you discover that there are lupines active in your vicinity, use your advantages, feed them some sacrifices, wait until they leave, or just run away. Sometimes a vampire will work with a werewolf, but, just usually best to stay away from them.
They bring up a strategy as to how to fight a lupine in first edition.
Really?
The strategy is summon as many moving things as you can with Obtenebration. And try to wave that in front of the Garu's face and distract them for long enough to have them start taking the shadows, thinking it's you. And then while they're doing that, just keep rolling Dominate until eventually it works.
Yeah, it's the only thing you can do, really, because otherwise, well, you're just going to get
Seven,
the fuck
if you're
beat out of
hearing
you.
this, you'll probably get... No, not Seven, I'm Eden. Eden, if you're hearing this, you're probably getting off of this.
That's the whole thing. The fucking bullshit with the abominations. You keep forgetting that Revised said that no, that's the no-go.
See, wait, so Dominate doesn't work on werewolves?
It struggles to work on werewolves. The werewolves can just push through it by spending a point of rage.
Yep.
Or you could just go into frenzy and just blow it off entirely.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember if we actually did settle this debate. Does animalism work on werewolves?
It stops them from frenzying, but that's it.
Okay, so it kind of works. That's about it.
And
Anyway.
if that strategy does not work as Lasombra, or you're kind of shit off luck, get out of it.
Yep. Mages. In theory, Le Manoir wants to figure out what sort of magic various human beings can use. In practice, it's just too dangerous. The best blood magicians they know say that magic comes easily to vampires. The magic that vampires has very little in common with mortal magic. So no point in trying to balance out what the master magicians among the kind can actually do. Always take action whenever they threaten you, but otherwise just kind of stay away from them.
Sounds right?
Yeah. Mages are freaky and we don't know how the hell they work. Stay away from them.
After all, mages aren't necessarily that scary because after all, these guys fucked up and made Clan Tremere, which is one of the first things to point out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I grew something in a test tube and it decided to devour the mountain, basically.
They said just do not interact with mages at all because as many times as the traditions will fight each other and even the technocratic union and the Fondi fight with each other, the problem will solve itself.
Yep, basically.
Which I think that's cope with Lasombra saying that.
A lot of the book is cope.
I think that's them just saying we have no practical solution to this. Let's just hope the problem goes away on its own.
Oh, buddy, I'm not going nowhere. And you look like a spoke in a wheel that needs correcting.
Meanwhile, with Freya, just seeing if we can get a vampire high.
I don't know. God, I really want to play Gershwin
we'll
again.
Churn the fentanyl and put it in your blood.
I really want to play Gershwin again. God, he was so much fun.
See, are you actually going to read what entropy does when you do that?
Yes, I am actually going to read what entropy does.
You didn't put a single dot in entropy when you made them.
I put 2 dots in entropy. What do you mean?
And then you never used it.
I didn't know how it worked.
You're able to rig rolls with 2 points in entropy.
And now I know that. Now I really want to play Gershwin again.
Well, we gotta wait for Mage to come back around again because it's going to be. I'm running Mage on Tuesdays, but with Thursday it's going to be a minute.
Yep. Okay. Wraiths. So we all know that ghosts exist. They're driven by their individual passions. If you draw any conclusion from this, but stay away, then we'll try to let's change that opinion. It is possible to make a profitable deal with a ghost, and very occasionally, the plans of the Sabbat tend to bring them in conjunction with various sorts of wraiths. who know some stuff about toppling kings and authoritarians, whatever they want. Deal with them similarly to how you deal with the Semichi or the Sethites. Keep the deal very straightforward and immediately break it off as soon as you're done.
In first edition Archy, they say that this is the reason why you need to be careful with your killings as the Lasombra. Because a vampire will not make a wraith. Unless it's a Giovanni, but we're not talking about that. But if you kill a human, there is a 1 in 10 chance that they will come back to haunt you.
That's
so this is why
terrible.
Death is a means, not an end.
This is why you want to be like Agent 47 in the Hitman games. You only go after your targets and that's it. Do not do any collateral damage.
No, certainly not. Okay.
Because after all, say if ghosts begin to haunt you, it's bad mojo. You're basically fucked as a vampire once it gets to that point. Because the Lasombra themselves say, hey, we got no way to help you with that.
Yeah.
We got nothing that can do that.
See, this is the one point in which the Giovanni would be useful, but then again, they don't think anything of the Giovanni, so they're just kind of fucked with that.
Anyone got the phone number to an exorcist we can pay?
You guys were in the Catholic Church. Don't you know, like, a fucking celestial chorister or something like that?
Oh, well, we just did that for money.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, you played yourself, gamer. Fuck off. Changelings. If you feel any need to understand a creature that supposedly feeds on dreams and exists half in an imaginary realm, well, Le Aminois will lay out the circumstances of your demise very, very carefully. Clearly, we failed to properly instruct you in some way, and we'll seek to avoid that in the future. Stay away from the changelings. Stay away from the changelings.
It's polar opposite
Unless you
in first
want,
edition.
Stay away from the changelings unless you want to actively go through Berserk's Lost Children arc.
It's the complete reverse in first edition. The Lasombra encourage you to hunt down changelings because of just how potent changeling blood is.
Really?
They say
makes you real high.
If you want to get stoned as a Lasombra, you gotta go find a changeling, and you will have the best meal you've ever had. They also say, there is no reason to fear these courts anymore. They said, go ahead, tell the Uncity Court that they can stop operating, because they are no longer the people that humanity needs to fear. The Lasombra will be taking their role, which I think is actually a pretty good boast.
Oh yeah.
And also, given that these guys made Clan Kiaseed, they made Clan Kiaseed, Kyle.
You okay?
Yeah, they embraced a fairy, and it made Clan Kiaseed.
That's terrifying. As vampire with changeling abilities is just a fucking bad situation waiting to fucking happen.
Mitseria at second level with her key discipline allows you to replicate cantrips.
Oh, that's fucked.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So if there was a clan that had nothing to fear with the changeling, given that these guys have already taken control of them once before, you can see why the Lasombra are not concerned.
Yeah,
at least in first edition.
I suppose that makes sense. Something must have changed between then and second edition to make them go, okay, no, we're cutting this off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because people started playing Changeling to Dreaming and realized how busted they were.
Basically, yeah, and more than likely they probably lost control of that fairy who, killed a bunch of people and then killed itself out of banality.
Yeah.
Because, vampires are very banal creatures, so I can't imagine it lived very long after the attempt.
Right, especially those summer who are all just about control and being a stick in the mud in terms of personalities.
Probably just went insane, killed a bunch of shit, and died. It's like Cicada.
He died sitting at the airport.
Yep. Hunters. Certain venerable elders of the Lasombra explain confidently that they know everything important about kind society, or at least it was back in the time, but that is not true anymore. Even though they have their own, superiority complex, their numbers are small and the kind are many. Never assume that you understand everything about everything. Allow room for surprise, and you'll avoid a lot of the very stupid ends that would destroy your fellow Canaanites. They understand that there's some reports of mortals with very unfamiliar powers in the very recent times. They're coming up with something new that they really don't understand. They believe it's some sort of collective immune system. It's doomed to fail, but, just be very careful about it.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of
They have
overconfident
nothing to say
about
about
hunters.
Hunters.
Meanwhile, hunters are pretty fucking scary.
Oh yeah, given that the Avengers can copy obtention at some levels.
Yeah.
With the smoke they can make.
Yeah, I gotta say, as Proverb said, pride goeth before a fall, and you kind of sad we're not doing that hunter game because I would have probably enjoyed playing Marcus again.
Yeah, we got to restructure that group entirely.
I guess so, but even still, I feel like this sort of reminds me of something that I used to say a lot during the earlier werewolf episodes that I haven't really seen a whole lot until we got to this book, and it reminded me why I like the World of Darkness so much. No matter how big and scary of a thing you are in the World of Darkness, whether you're a fucking high-level Ventru who's in control of an entire city, whether you're a rank 5 Garo who's slain some of the strongest worm that, Pentex can throw at you, whether you're, a Euthanatoy Archmage, there is always going to be something in the World of Darkness that is scarier than you.
The shoe will always drop on you from some other source.
Exactly. That's part of the reason I love this. I love this game series so much.
Let's go into this. And shall we finish the episode with the Tenebration?
Yes, let's talk about the premier discipline of the Lasombra.
All right, so the premier discipline.
I'm staring to the abyss after all. The abyss
so this is
back.
This is not Archie what you want to use as a first result. This is a last resort power you want to use.
Yes.
Give me a minute. I'm typing.
Well, I mean, when it comes to disciplines, I mean, I feel like any sort of premier discipline that has a drawback, like Protean with the Gangrel or
how fucking expensive thaumaturgy is.
Yeah, or with the Curse of Chaetus with the Assamites, or just general Malkavian insanity that comes alongside of demontation. It's a way to balance things, so to speak. And obtenebration over long term can basically kill your character. Like, you get too high in obtenebration because of too much with too many bestial failures, well, you better just get a new character sheet.
And then meanwhile with the Ravnos, there is no fucking drawback.
Well, that's because the Ravnos are awesome.
There is no downside to abusing obtenebration.
Well, no, because,
not obtenebration, chemistry.
Well, here's the drawback of being a Ravnos, is that you're a Ravnos and everybody hates you. So no matter how strong... I don't give a damn about my bad reputation. Okay, Joan Jett. But I feel like that is a different and kind of interesting way to balance out an otherwise kind of busted, clan and vampire. Is make
fucking busted as shit. Like, you saw how many times we were building cheats for May by Night, how many times I was asking Ryan how many points are you putting in chemistry?
Yes.
Because that influenced how many points I was going to put into Obfuscate.
If you think that's nuts, you should see what Rap Red's going to do.
Let's see, take a look at this. You haven't told me how destructive that power is yet.
No, and I'm going to leave it until we actually get to a place in which you can use it.
It's going to be a massive anticlimactic disappointment like Victor playing the Bruja.
You got to get off his back, homie. Anyway, obtenebration.
All these clans, you picked the fucking Bruja.
It's Florida hardcore. Relax.
Oh, Archie, save me. All right.
What?
All right, so going into this, we begin with level 1 Shadow Play, which is it's pretty simple stuff. You pick up a shadow, you move it around, like bombs away. You get somebody's shadow to move around.
Yep, easy peasy.
Archie, you've seen Naruto. You know how Shikamaru works.
Yeah.
We're just gonna get this shadow to move around the ground. Now, granted, you can only have this really work with like pre-existing shadows. You can't create darkness with this. But if there is anything that is on the opposite side of light, you can take that shadow, stretch it around, and get to do stuff for you. What you gotta do is that you roll nothing. This is just something that goes off. You always have this power.
Yep.
Oh, like
And
okay, just imagine like Facilier from Princess and the Frog.
yes.
Yep.
But you do need to activate a blood point to use it. Now, once you flip it on, it's a switch. This power stays active for the entire scene. You don't need to use a blood point every time you want to use it. What you can do with it, like an application that says, is that you can use it to pull a shadow off the ground and cover it. Use it to cover yourself like a second skin, and that will give you an extra dice to all of your dice rolls involving stealth, and will add 1 difficulty to all ranged attacks made against you.
That's kind of sick.
Yeah. Or you can use it to add a dice pool to your intimidation. It's a power that can use multiple stuff. It can do multiple things, multiple applications, depending on how creative your player is with it. Very similar to Vicissitude.
I like it.
It's the reason why I like Mage the Ascension. The more creative you are with the application of the power, the further you're going to get in Mage. Level 2 is Shroud of Night. The vampire can create a
And
cloud
this
of
is this is the part where Obteneration becomes overpowered.
Yes, Rap Red used this power constantly during Friday Uncensored, during Disco by Night. This was anytime we went into combat, he would use this. The cloud completely obscures all light. It's a D&D spell darkness. Basically.
Hey, that's pretty good.
But here's the thing: you roll manipulation and occult, difficulty 7. Successes on the roll will generate for every 1 success 10 feet of darkness in diameter, starting from you. Each additional success doubles the diameter of the cloud. The cloud may be invoked at a distance of up to 50 yards or meters. Though creating darkness outside the vampire's line of sight adds 2 to the difficulty of the roll. Now, what this does is when you're in it, is that every fucking roll you make is now at a +2 difficulty.
Wait, why?
Everything. Because the darkness itself is draining your soul while you stay in it.
Oh, yeah, do it.
That's why. And even the powers, heightened senses, Eyes of the Beast, and Tongue of the Asp are all cancelled by this power.
That's fucked.
Yeah, you see here. And along with that, if it's a mortal in here, they will begin to asphyxiate, as in they will lose 2 dice to your stamina score every turn. Once they're rolling 0 stamina, they will begin to slowly take 1 health level of darkness until they quote-unquote drown in the darkness.
Jesus.
It's that easy, Kyle. So, yes, reasonably, a Lasombra could kill a werewolf with that power.
If we caught him sleeping, maybe.
Right. You gotta be very quick, though, because the Garo has rage, of course. Maybe a girl will be a little bit easier, too. Nah, they can use rage to buff up their stamina score. It'll still be hard.
Yep.
Who else could we... Ananasi, maybe?
Maybe.
Kitsune?
I don't know how fragile the were spiders are.
Next up is the fun power that everybody likes, Arms of the Abyss.
You become the darkness.
You give yourself big shadow tentacles to come out of your back or around your arms. You roll manipulation and occult, difficulty 7. Each success enables the creation of a single tentacle. Each tentacle reaches out to 6 feet, and it will go off of your strength and dexterity rating. Your opponent's insularity dots are added to this, by the way. Yeah. And so you see with the Lasombra starting off with potence, how these guys can very quickly turn to Dr. Octopus.
Oh yeah.
With the mouse.
You become Slenderman.
Butterfingers.
Oh no. No, not.
What are you thinking?
Let's make it more scary. Let's make it more scary. They become Pride from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. But as they use all 6 tentacles to just tear you into shreds within 1 turn. And these tentacles have health levels, by the way. They have 4 health levels.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
they go off, and they can soak damage using your stamina score and your fortitude score. Incredible. So, Bomb is away with that power, by the way.
Oh yeah. No, like you want to win a fight, that's what you need.
You then take it a step further with Black Metamorphosis, which is your first transformation. What you do is you completely cover yourself with darkness and have all these different tentacles come out of your back. Once Rapride unlocked this power, he used it constantly. The player spends 2 blood points and makes a manipulation courage roll, difficulty 7. Vampires of lower generation may have to take 2 turns to activate it, but you know, you got what you paid for not putting points in generation. Shame on you for your character creation. Failure indicates that a vampire cannot undergo the Black Metamorphosis. A botch inflicts 2 unsinkable levels of lethal damage to you upon doing that.
Well,
but
okay.
if it does activate, you have Arms of the Abyss, 4 tentacles for free, where you can continue to make more tentacles by using Arm of the Abyss if you so choose. They go off with the same stats that we mentioned before, and if you are touching somebody, you now can asphyxiate them by putting your hand over their mouth to start draining their stamina score.
So you get Shroud of Night and Arms of the Abyss.
Yes, they both go off at the same time. And you can activate another power while still using this, by the way. So this effect stacks, by the way.
That's pretty fucked.
Yeah, you can see how you can eventually steamroll if you have enough preparation with Lasombra.
Good lord.
And going off of it assumes that you're using vampire sheets for this. Mortals, animals, and other creatures have to make a courage roll or a willpower roll, difficulty 8, or they will go into either panic, delirium, or rot Shrek, depending on what game system you're using.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So you could just scare the shit out of everybody and win the fight.
You could. Where once again, recently, Lasombra could defeat a Garu.
If they bomb the willpower roll, then yeah.
And then we go into Tenebrous form, where we take that Black Metamorphosis and we take it one step further. The vampire becomes an inky amoeba patch of shadow. You just become a giant shadow blob after you use this power. The transformation costs 3 blood points, and the vampire is immune to all physical damage while in Tenebrous form. Yes.
Immune to all damage.
All physical damage. Spells, fire, and sunlight still damage you. But besides that, nothing can hurt you.
That's so like this, but then again, this is a level 5 Obtenebration gift. I imagine this is
with 3 blood points.
Yeah, so that, and I imagine a heavy cost to humanity as well.
Yeah. On top of that, you can just roll over people with this power and just suffocate them to death.
Yep.
Yeah. And that same rot check debuff I mentioned before is still in effect.
Yeah, so
there we go.
Obtenebration's pretty fucking busted.
Yes, if you get this off and your Bruja does not have an answer for this, you can defeat that Celerity Bruja with this power.
Yep. But this requires that you put a lot into Obtenebration, which, as we said before, is not a good idea.
And at level 6, you can summon a horse made out of darkness, or you can start teleporting between shadows.
I don't know. Horse made out of darkness sounds kind of cool.
Hey,
or
fuck it, let's call it a nightmare.
God damn it.
There we go. That's a Ryan joke.
Yeah.
Honestly, the name is cool. Nightmare.
Yeah.
It is cool.
At level 7, Archie, you can make shadow clones. You can make more of yourself with this. It's a blood point for every clone you want to make, and yes, they can also go into Tenebrous form and Black Metamorphosis at the same time.
Okay, so you have a very powerful Lasombra say, make shadow clones and say, do you want them to have 10? No, okay, be like fucking Madara Uchiha and say, do you want these clones to have Tenebrous? Tenebrous form too?
You go ahead and take a
He's
step
the
forward. Take a step up. That's the one anime college watch beginning to end.
Not even beginning to end. I watched. I remember reading it a lot more in like middle school. I think I left off after Sasuke killed Danzo.
And then, how about Shadow Watchtower at level 8, where it's the same as Tempest Form, but except you're a fucking tower. Mid out of darkness.
What the fuck do you even do with that?
Smash somebody with it.
Oh. Basically, you become a thwomp.
Yes, that's what happens to you. And you just roll over to enemies and kill them, and that's as easy as it is. And
No,
it is only
I think
3
you
blood
can be
points.
more creative with the Watchtower.
And then, because after all, you read Berserk, you remember what fucking Ganeshka looked like when he was Shiva form.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of crazy shit. And then at level 9, we have Lasombra's power, Ahriman's Demence. The player spends 2 points of willpower and concentrates for 3 turns. During this time, the blackness billows out of a character's hand, growing to fill an area. At the end of the 3rd turn, the player rolls manipulation and occult difficulty 6. Everyone in the darkness suffers that many health levels of damage that you rolled in your successes. Instantly. It just goes off.
Hey, may I say something?
Yes.
Okay, I remember you guys said advanced powers of celebration is not that good. But I'm seeing this, and it just becomes more overpowered.
By that point, well, it's unfeasible because the more you put into celebration, the more it begins to corrupt you. But by that point, you've traded your soul for power. I don't think you care anymore. By that point, you've become an instrument of the abyss. That's the whole shtick with them. So there we go. All right. Clan Lasombra, everybody.
The Lasombra. If you want to be a creature of darkness, literally and figuratively, play the Lasombra. They're kind of fucking cool.
You see how fucking cool they are and why everybody loves to play as these guys.
Yes.
Yeah, these guys are my favorite clan, along with Simichi in Vampire Masquerade.
Yeah, the Bruja or the Toreador are always your first character. The Lasombra is always your second character.
That is if you could find a Sabat game.
Well, even then, like, fucking V5 got rid of that shit.
Yeah, which is dumb, but, you know.
So now I got all these normie leftists that want to play as Lasombra, and they can do it.
Either way, I mean, if you know, the Lasombra is a very versatile vampire clan with a very rich history as well. You can basically make a Lasombra to do whatever you want.
And this is why I got so many Lasombra characters in my back pocket.
And be that you can be with Obteneration and be that overpowered, or you can put stuff on Potence, put stuff on Dominate,
and it's got so much synergy with other disciplines.
Yeah,
it's absolutely incredible. This beats the whole like vicissitude potence thing where you could just get the big damn arm and punch a building down with one punch.
Yeah. I mean, this versus vicissitude would basically be the unstoppable force versus the immovable object.
Mm-hmm. And along with that, we got the Rage Underground series. We're bringing back the live play, and I'm also very excited to play as Rudy Holland. We used him in Las Vegas by Night, which was the first vampire game we ever ran.
Yes, he sadly wasn't around for very long, but
he was essentially there to die.
Yep. And now we get to actually, we actually get to see Rudy Holland as a character.
Right.
And I actually play a Wendigo, so that's going to be fun.
Which there's actually a fun background you could take with the Lasombra called Insubordinate.
And I assume Rudy has that.
As it turns out, you did not appreciate the Lasombra ruining your life during the whole embrace process, which is where that comes into play.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You just have an overall hatred for the clan Lasombra.
I mean, to be fair, if somebody ruined my life, I wouldn't want to work for them either.
Exactly that. The whole thing is that we're going to break you down and we're going to build you back better than ever, but sometimes it doesn't always work out that way.
No, it does not.
Yeah. Now, Archie, why is clan Lasombra your favorite?
Okay. Even at first I confused Path of Night. Now I see Road of Night. Well, it's all about the character I have. They're really into the Catholic theme, both sides of the coin.
Right.
You have basic human stuff. We take advantage out of everything. And
Mhm.
no, I really see the Lasombra as tragic.
Right. There's a
As
whole thing where they can't be good people no matter how hard they try.
as much as we talk about them being scum, um, want absolute control, I still find tragedy within them.
Mhm. Given that, like, there's only one other group I can really think of. It's a weird analogy, like the Shroobs from Super Mario. They're a group of people that can't be good no matter how hard they try. You're allotted to being a bad person, and that's just the way the universe has made you.
Yep. And so they make it their divine purpose.
And there we go. Anything else you want to say, or is that it for an episode?
I believe that is it. Join us
yeah,
on
that's
Thursday for the very first episode of my new Vampire the Masquerade live play. Stay tuned, everybody.
We all get to meet in a tavern.
Not necessarily. You get
You'll get to meet in Waffle House.
Two of
In
you
a
do.
Waffle House.
One of you's at a show. The other one is at home with his two wivies. So
Can I get a waffle?
no.
Has DoorDash been invented in 1989?
No, but you can send one of your wives out to get one.
Well, she's not going to come home if that happens.
Well, no, she probably isn't. But
There we go.
Anyway,
right.
yeah. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Archie and GN.